What's up? What's up? It's the Arthur Moats Experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
What's good, dude?
Man, I'm vibing out as I always do. Anytime we get a chance to record, it's always a fun time. You know, so can't complain, man. Getting a little antsy as it's getting closer to my departure. You know, on my pursuit to happiness. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a little wired.
You ever see that Cure for Wellness movie?
I have seen that. I promise I was thinking about it too, bro.
That's the first thing I thought about
yes.
whenever you mentioned this
Yes,
thing.
bro.
Like,
that movie was crazy
you gotta
as heck,
go
bro.
to this thing. Oh, I'm not. You're saying I'm not good?
Yeah. No. Don't worry about it, man. You're good. Just no technology though. No. That movie's crazy, bro.
That was wild.
That was crazy. The ending was even nuts.
It's it is. It's a weird movie.
Yeah.
It's actually like kind of weird.
It is, bro. It is
like
definitely
they tie
weird,
everything
bro.
together at the end. But just the thought of like, you're okay, but once you get somewhere, they're like, no, you're not okay. You're sick, actually. Like, no, I'm pretty sure I'm fine.
I've been fine all year.
You sure it's not the place that's affecting
Trust
me?
me.
No.
You're not okay. Yeah, so if that is going on, you call him out. All right, Deke? That's why we make sure we still keep the show going. So if you see it, you let me know. The chat, if y'all see me acting weird starting next week, y'all let me know. Like, yo, Moats, this ain't it, bro.
What's that in the
this
background?
Ain't it. Yeah, man. I don't know what's going on over there. They brainwashing you, big fella. All right? But yeah, man, can't complain. Shoot, I'm trying to think, man. What else do we have? Sid the Kid, man, had his 500th career goal yesterday, man. That was pretty dope, and it was against the Flyers. So always good to show, who runs this whole state of Pennsylvania. You know,
No, it's 100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
Crosby owns the Flyers, and I didn't get to watch it last night. I was busy doing some stuff, and then I had band practice. I didn't even check up on the highlights today, so I didn't even know if they won. But it's a pretty cool story how the game played out. They go down 4-2, tied up 4-4. You said they win in the shootout. Or was it overtime or shootout?
Overtime.
It was just in overtime. Okay, but I just watched the goal. Yeah. That's like a signature Crosby goal.
It is,
That's
though.
like a typical goal.
It is.
Tough angle.
Yeah.
Pinpoint, top shelf.
Hit you with it. Was that luck or was that skill?
Yeah. No, I like that one. I like that one just because it showed how good he could be with that type of shot.
Yeah. I mean, Sid is Sid for a reason. I mean, it's not often that we talk a little hockey, but, man, whenever it pertains to the captain, that guy, I always like to bring him up, man, anytime he does something special like that, because 500 career goals is crazy. I think right now they say he's he's behind Lemieux, but by a ton more. Do you think he'll catch
Different
him?
errors. I don't know what the exact numbers are.
So, I want to say it was like 160.
He's
under 160,
behind.
170, yeah.
So he's at what, 33, 34?
Yeah.
Probably got 5 or 6 years left. Although I don't know if he's going to do the Yager treatment.
What you mean?
I mean, Yager is still playing hockey over in like Czech Republic.
Oh, yeah.
But even recently with the NHL,
50 right now? Is he 50?
I think he
He's
made
gotta be
it
close. Yeah.
I think he's probably 50 right now. He's
Okay,
48, 49.
yeah.
But even it's about 3-4 years back, he made an all-star team with the Florida Panthers at like 43. I'm being serious. So like hockey players sometimes,
Do you think
the more they
Sid would play
age,
that long, though?
I could see it. I don't know what it is with hockey players. You could play into your mid-40s, early 40s,
crazy.
and not really miss a
And
beat.
the
I mean,
game
you're
is
seeing
still
with Jeff
physical,
Carter
though.
right now.
That's the part of the game. It's not like baseball where it's really, you don't have the physical running into somebody or hitting the ground and stuff like that. In hockey, I'm like, y'all.
I don't know what it is about hockey.
Yeah,
You can
hockey,
age
you're
pretty
like
well.
hitting the ground, like, it's physical. Absolutely, man.
I could see it with Crosby, though. I mean, he better be on the Penguins the whole time. We cannot release him at any point.
Oh, no. I agree with you on that. He is our guy.
The problem could be, though, if for some reason his play starts to decline and it's
Oh,
like 40s.
Don't you do that.
No, hear me out. He always does those contracts where it's $8.7 million every year to match his number. So at that point, it's like, oh, man, we might be paying him too much.
Oh, no.
I'm sure
Divided by 2, 4.7. We'll give you 4.4
No,
million. How about
I'm
that?
sure he'd play ball. He'd play ball. He'd be fine. As
I
long
mean,
as
by
he's
the
on the
time he gets
Penguins.
to that part, though, by the time he gets to that,
You got to understand.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you might have to make a little sacrifice, get one of these young guns in there or something. But yeah, will he catch? I don't know. It's just different errors. That's the tough part. Maybe if he plays into his mid-40s or early 40s, maybe.
Yeah.
But he hasn't been the most prolific goal scorer like Ovechkin throughout his career either. Yeah. But he has some seasons. He'll surprise you, get up in the 40 range.
Well, that's the thing, though. Sid is like always just I felt like just well-rounded, just elite on the ice. Whereas when I think of Ovi, I think of he's trying to score every chance he gets. He's a shooter, And I just think that both of those guys are great in their own right, as we obviously recognize them, but they're just different in terms of their skill set, in terms of their mental approach and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say Crosby's better than Ovechkin. Ovechkin's eclipse Malkin. I think early in their careers, though, you would say.
No, I used to think Malkin over Ovi.
Oh, yeah, for sure, because Ovi didn't have the cup.
So I was going to say, when did it switch for you? Because for me, it was actually when the Caps did win the cup. That's when I really was like, all right, I'm convinced now. I believe it. He's shown that he can actually do it postseason and carry it and actually, win it.
That's probably the most clear way. Malkin's just been so in and out of the lineup, sometimes lethargic with it. But I think that is the clear point where you could say Ovechkin, because maybe there was a year or two before that, or the years leading up to that cup, you could start making the switch on that, just because Ovechkin's goals have been crazy throughout the years, the amount he scores on a year-by-year basis. But yeah, Crosby for sure, all-time over Ovechkin. People say he's in the mix for like top 3 with Gretzky and Lemieux, even like top 5.
Crosby or Ovi?
No, Crosby.
Crosby
with Gretzky and Lemieux. It's just so hard whenever you look at Gretzky and Lemieux's raw numbers. Yeah, they blow Crosby's away.
Yeah,
but everyone's saying trying to get the puck past the goalie now is so much harder than what it was back then.
Now I wonder why though. Because I think because I always try to think of the parallel of NHL to NFL, and I'm like, NFL, we can attest to, man, just 20 years or 10 years ago, it was a lot more bigger body personnel, a lot more run action. And even when we go further back, it was a lot more emphasis on being able to run the ball. And that's why the passing numbers were very down when you're comparing older time frame versus now, where it's like an average quarterback is still going to throw $4,000. And you're like, man, back then that was like leading the league. That was elite. So I always just wonder, like with NHL, what made it shift like that?
Part of me wants to just say the goalies are better. Maybe, you know how in quarterbacks they have quarterback camps from whenever you're like 10 years old.
Yeah, true.
I could see that with goalies. I'm not as much into hockey and the culture, though. I'm just guessing with that.
Got you.
I think the pads are bigger, too. Definitely from what it looks like. So there's maybe a few factors. I have no clue, though. Yeah. But that's why, even though Crosby's numbers are way less than Gretzky's or Lemieux's, people still consider him in like the top 3 like that.
Makes sense, then. Makes sense. Nah, shout out to
Plus the clutch performances in the playoffs. 3 cups even. I mean, Gretzky, he only has 4. So Crosby could catch him, maybe even surpass him.
Catch him, man. Absolutely. Whew. Shout out to Sid, though.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sid. And that's why we love Sid over here, baby. But with that being said, let us know where you are tuning in from, and we will officially get this show rolling, baby. Yes, indeed. Oh, and we got David Dupree pulling up early in the super chats. What up, DD Smalls? He says, if you are in distress, blink 5 times when you are doing the podcast from out there. That works for me. That works. Because, yeah, man, I mean, I'm going to a place where, I'm going to be monitored. They're going to be checking me out, making sure I'm mentally stable, emotionally safe, emotionally, where I need to be, so I'm going to tell them every side effect, every issue that I have, blame it on Deke. That's what I'm going to tell him. It's his fault. He stresses me out, guys. He makes me act crazy. Yep.
DJ Lundy, the crib. 757 Norfolk, Virginia.
Talk about it. I even like the fact that you even call it the crib now. That's how I know.
Every time I see 757, I always think crib.
Let's go. That's the crib.
The 2 time I think crib is that 757, and also after I get a pick and mad and I say to the crib.
To the crib. Gotta go to the crib.
All the time.
Yeah.
Xavier, 804 Richmond, Virginia.
Okay.
Brent Fox, 214 Faux Show. Dallas, Texas.
Yo, what was that?
I don't know.
That boy Deke said 214 Faux Show.
Charlie Brown. 601
shout
Mississippi.
out to Charlie. What up?
Stephen H. Allentown, PA. Chris Heller. What's good, fellas? Hitting you from CT, Connecticut.
Let's get it.
Cameron Lopez just saying, make sure you like and subscribe, y'all. Yeah, I did. I don't think
facts.
I liked. I did. Facts. I did. I liked.
Big facts. All right, I get a couple real quick. We got Bart Basquiato, the 805,000 Oaks, California. Let's get it. Then we got Jacob Soria, the 209, Stockton, California. Shout out to all my Stockton slaps going on out there, baby. And Josh Freeland, the 909, Rancho Cucamonga, California. I used to think that place was made up because of the day going, was it Friday after next Friday? I was like, oh man, this is a fake place, man. But no, it's actually a real spot. Shout out. And then Susanna Pacheco, East Texas. Baby, let's go.
A few more.
Yeah, get a couple
Gavin
more.
Schneider, Toms River, New Jersey, 732. Jay Sawyer, 717, Harrisburg, PA. Danny Furia, 513. Okay. The saddest city in the USA, Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah, I bet they are sad. But I don't know. Would you be, I mean, I guess you're sad because you lost it, but you can't be that sad because you actually, I mean, you exceeded crazy expectations, man.
Exceeded expectations.
Absolutely, man.
I could see them being really sad from the standpoint AFC's not getting really any worse here.
Yeah. But they've already emerged out of the gauntlet, so it's not like they got to fear anyone per se.
They don't got to fear anyone, but, man, there's going to be a good four. It's probably going to be like this year.
It'll be competitive, yeah.
Would we have been surprised if the Raiders made a little run this year? I think any of the 7 teams that make the playoffs in the AFC for the foreseeable future might have a good chance now.
No, absolutely, man. Shoot, even think about the Chargers didn't get in, and we could have even seen them making a run and not be surprised by it just because they have prolific quarterback play, high-level talent on defense at certain levels, obviously with Derwin James and stuff like that. So, yeah. But
Ravens will be getting Lamar Jackson back.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what Browns do at quarterback?
Bro. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, AFC, it's going to be a little tight race here for a little bit, I think, with these quarterbacks. Don Juan. Hopefully Haskins, whoever we get, they can step up and be a part of that mix. Don Juan, checking in from the 229 by the way of 901, Memphis.
Okay, shout out to Memphis then. Let's get it.
I'll do one more.
Now
never mind. Herman Mercado.
He brought up Memphis and made me think of Yo Gotti. I was just bumping his music the other day. He dropped a new album too.
Who?
Yo Gotti. It's pretty dope. It's pretty dope.
Herman Mercado, live from the 650 Bay Area. And I'll say one more. Supernatural 20. 316 Wichita, Kansas. Let's go.
Let's go. I ain't gonna lie, man. I love how you read these zip codes, area codes, and locations off, man. You've definitely settled in. I feel like you own that spot right there.
Thanks,
bro.
man.
You own that. I feel like I just dip dab in it, but like that's your vein. I like that, bro.
I appreciate it. Super chats. Let's go, UW. Sup from Jackson, Mississippi. Malkin and Kapanen cannot be allowed on the same line anymore. The turnovers are getting out of hand, which is weird because they had a really nice chemistry going last year. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of disappointing. Yeah. Kapanen's talent's there for sure. They're talking about trading him. I'm not that for it, but sometimes you need to mix things up.
I'm all for trading as long as it's not the big three or the important main people. When you talk about Sid, when you talk about Dagon Malkin, and obviously now I've changed my tune even. Jari, yeah. Keep him. You heard he's in my big three now. You know
he should be.
He's in my big three. A year has changed my life.
He's deserving, dude.
Because a year ago this time I was definitely on the Casey DeSmith, y'all better stop slacking.
He's fell off a little bit.
He has, bro. Man, ever since the end of last season.
I think it was his last start though. He was looking pretty good.
But still, like it's
not the
he's
same.
not playing the same as he was last year, bro.
No, definitely
last year,
not.
man, he legit was pushing Jari, and it looked like it made sense. Like, yeah, you know what? Keep giving him opportunities. Now I'm like, don't give him opportunities right now. Just let him chill out.
Problem with me making trades. I remember last year. I think beginning of the season, I was like, yeah, Letang should be on the trade block. He's putting together some really good.
But early on, though, a year ago, it did make sense.
His defense was terrible.
He was struggling, and he still had trade value. And at the time, the team was like, yo, maybe we can get a little younger, too.
His defense does slip sometimes, too. His offense really makes up for it, though.
Right, but that's what makes him Letang, though, because he's able to score like that and still typically give you high-level defense. But when he doesn't, now you starting to look like, hold on, bro. What you supposed to be doing out here? So, yeah.
Like, who are we getting for Kapanen? That's the question.
Yeah.
If it's a future pick or something, I don't want to do that. Keep him on the roster at least. But if it's some guy of the same caliber you think that would just fit better, all right, whatever.
And we've
Take
seen
the
them
chance.
do those type of things, though.
Yeah.
I mean, the past 2 years, have you seen that, man?
It's
whether
hockey.
It's been Jason Zucker, whether it's
dudes
been
flying all over the place with these trades.
Yeah, absolutely, man. These dudes, every year you're like, oh, that's the one we went with, and then it works. It's like, oh, all right, shout out there, man.
Perk Jr. A guy said Steve Young better than Ben. Thoughts? Hell no. Fake news. Don't believe that. I don't know who the guy is. A guy? Was it in the gas station? Is it on ESPN?
Don't y'all get Deke started
Take it
today.
with a grain of salt.
Don't y'all get Deke started today, all right? We've been avoiding quarterbacks, all right? Ever since Ben has walked away, thank you, 7. Shout out to the hats. They are available, and mine came in. Thank you, 7. It was pretty clean, bro.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna wear it I was gonna wear it today, but my daughter wanted to match, so we had our Gravedigger shirts on from Mustard Jam.
Are you gonna wear it out?
I am. I'm definitely gonna wear it in memory of you too.
Okay.
It was pretty cool though, man. Stitched up nice, man. You'll definitely like it. Like I said, man. Anybody that's looking for that, just click the little merchandise link. Go right over there. Copy one of them. Thank you, 7 hats. Yes, indeed. Hey, man, we even did the trucker style for you because I know you like the trucker net in the background. Gave some options. We got the trucker, and then we got the regular snapback flatter brim one. For either culture. That's all. A little diversity.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to rock that.
Funny thing.
I never came around to that phrase.
Listen, I was talking to wifey when the hat came in yesterday. And she's like, oh, that looks good. I'm like, yeah, I'm talking to wifey. I got my daughter over there. And I'm like, yo, so check it out, man. You see this? She's like, yo, look at the details, the quality, the color really pops because it's the black hat. I'm like, yeah, babe. She's like, Deke's going to love this. I was like, actually, babe.
There's a
like, it's
backstory.
the opposite. I was like, Deke is anti thank you, 7. Deke has hated that phrase since it's been uttered by the person that we heard it first from was Terrence Garvin, who was like, ever since then, Deke has been
No one
anti.
was doing it. On the
I
fan,
hadn't heard it. No,
nowhere else.
I had never heard it. Everybody was saying get rid of him. They were saying bench him, but never the thank you 7 part because thank you 7, he started saying that, when it was 4 or 5 games left in the year?
Yeah, probably a month left.
Yeah. So that was the part of me where I was like, it was a little early because we didn't know if he was even going to retire.
And then everyone in the chat started saying it too.
Yeah. And then after that, I just started it to really blow up. And then, next thing we know, we're at Heinz Field and,
there's
it shows up on the
everywhere.
Jumbotron.
Yeah,
Thank you,
on the
7.
Jumbotron.
Yeah. So, but everybody else loves the hat except we figured Deke. I said Deke is going to be the
Yeah,
one. I was like,
I got to hang up with
I
it.
don't anticipate Deke ever wearing a thank you 7 hat. But that's Deke, though.
Brilla 92. WTF is with that O-line coach hiring. We've got to have the worst coaching staff in the league. Feel bad for Naj having to deal with that trash can. He's tuning in from Canada, I guess.
Well, shout out to that comment because that's
It's either that or you're
obviously
saying
the
Canada's
first.
trash.
Yeah, well, that's the first topic we are going to address. Shout out to that though, Barilla 92, my man. But the Pittsburgh Steelers officially have named Pat Meyer their offensive line coach, and with him, man, a little bit of a mixed bag. 20 years of coaching experience, has been coaching at the NFL level for 10, 15, almost 15 seasons, has had stops. Most recently, he was with Carolina the past couple of years. He was with the Chargers prior to that. Spent time in Buffalo, which I know Deke was really excited about because Deke loves any coach, any player, any person with an affiliation to the Buffalo Bills and that amazing organization. That's what Deke said, not my words. That's his words. He threw amazing. I never said, I just said the Buffalo Bills, but Deke said that amazing organization. So it gave him a lot more confidence in this hire.
There was a stat out there that he helped orchestrate the number 1 rushing offense that year. Was it 2016?
Mm-hmm.
Was that Tyrod, Shady type of stuff?
And then he also had success with the Chargers, where they had, as a team, their most rushing yard total in, I think it was 2018 season. It was either 2018 or 2017 or 2018. That was their, they ended up rushing for, I think it was like 1,800 yards or whatever.
I could run through the stats real quick. I got it pulled up. 2013 Bears, they were 22nd. 2014 Bears, 8th. 2015 Bills, 15th. 2016 Bills, 1st. Chargers, 12th in 2017. 2018, 9th Chargers.
Yep.
In 2019, the Chargers were 10th. So, I mean, borderline top 10 for 3 years with the Chargers. Panthers, 12th in 2020. Panthers, 15 in 2021. That's all. Team run success rate during regular season.
Yeah. Now the thing with Pat is this, man. It's kind of a mixed bag, honestly. When you hear some of the run success, yes, that is true. But at the same time, when you watch some of these places where he's coached their offensive line units, it has been a little bit of, all right, when he has the right personnel, looks good. When it's been not the best personnel, it's looked really bad. But the one thing that I would say is this, for him to have lasted this long at the NFL level, he clearly has something about him that, in whether it's we're talking resiliency, whether we're talking just his ability to connect with players, he has something about him.
Blackmail on ownerships. I don't know.
Yeah, that continues to keep getting him these opportunities because typically if you have a rough go at it or you're just that terrible of a coach, you typically don't get other opportunities in the NFL. That's just how it goes. I mean, we've seen that. We always joke about it with our coaching staff here. We're like, man, if we fired this guy, nobody's going to pick him up. So with Pat, clearly that is not the case because he's been picked up multiple times at the NFL level. And then even dating back to his collegiate level, he's had success there as well. He's been a part of some pretty big name universities, Florida State being one of them as well. But what I do also like is this, though, man. With all this being said, the highs and the lows with him, right? The good performances, the not so good performances. You look like you're the man to be with going long term, and at the other time where it's like, yo, you need to be fired yesterday. the one thing I can say is this, man, that he handles the ebb and flow. He handles success and failure well, because in the NFL, that's what you have to deal with. And when I think of this Steelers unit, this offensive line unit in particular, what do we have? We have young players. We have inexperienced players. We have guys that are kind of inconsistent, meaning at times, yeah, some of these guys look really good. Then at times they look really bad. But we know we're going to need somebody that can help keep them as even keel as possible through those highs and lows. And I just feel like a guy like Pat, because of his experience, based on his resume, based on the place he's been and the success and failures that he's had, he is going to be able to communicate and relate to those guys in some of that vein. And I also like that he was a former player. Granted, he only played one season in the NFL, and then he had, I believe he had a year or two up in Canada. The fact that he still was in the trenches, the fact that he still tasted what it felt like to be in the NFL, going through the rigors of a season, understanding film study, understanding how to break down, your opponents and things like that. I just always put a little bit more stock in that as well, compared to a guy that is just solely coached but has never played the game at that NFL level.
Yeah, let's just give the dude a chance, because you could talk about some of the positives, some of those rushing offenses that he was helping in the past. You could talk about maybe some of his hiccups last couple years with Carolina. But it goes back to a lot of the times with these position coaches. In my opinion, the more I'm thinking about this more and more, so much of it has to do with personnel.
Absolutely, man.
Like all of a sudden, last year, Ike Hilliard, great hire for the Steelers. We don't technically let him go this year, but we don't re-sign him. If he signs somewhere else, is he considered a bad hire because the Steelers receivers didn't live up to the hype? Who knows what's going on behind the scenes, how well he's coaching these Panthers offensive linemen. Who knows how well Ike Hilliard was coaching up the Steelers receivers. It's just this up and down thing we really don't know. So let's give him a chance. I don't know really who else we could have been going for. Who else was on our target list outside of Munchak?
Yeah, because he was obviously the big name. In terms of bigger name offensive line coaches, most of them are employed. That's the nature of it when you talk about like elite or top tier offensive line coaches. Some of the names that just come off the top of my head, I always think of Mike Munchak. I think of Doug Marrone. I think of Tom Cable. All of those guys are employed or have been employed during these processes right now. And even a guy like Chris Morgan, he's another guy. We talk about him, man, his credentials, right? We talk about Pat Meyer's credentials. Chris Morgan's blows his out the water in terms of proven productivity, leading a team to the Super Bowl, having that type of productivity with his offensive line units. And even with him, it was like, man, we still kind of wanted Munchak over that guy. But when you compare and contrast,
we lost Semo.
Absolutely. And that was the difference too. I was like, Semo did leave. Now, granted, we could have done whatever we could have to keep him in house.
That's the question.
But
why didn't we try?
But then I asked myself this. What has been the biggest criticism of the Steelers when they hire? Promotion from within. As soon as we promoted, as soon as we named him the, offensive line coach when Adrian Clem left, everybody was upset. Man, we're promoting from within again. Why do we
hired him from out, though?
Right, but we hired him from out, but that was the consensus. That was the overall feeling. And then this offseason, we want Munchak. We don't want to go from within. We want to go outside, even though Munchak technically is still from within because he's been here before. But you know what I mean? So when I thought of that, I was just like, man, it's kind of funny, man. We had a guy that on paper was more qualified and a better guy than this particular guy we just hired. But at the time, we didn't want that because he was technically in-house.
Can we stop doing the within versus out? Let's just get the best guy. If they are within, it's just the problem has been, I think, the guys we've been promoting within haven't been the most qualified guys, or we haven't been at least doing outside searches.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. I totally missed something, bro.
What's that?
Something just popped up on your screen as well as my screen. You know what we do when it's that?
Mic drop. Record scratch.
Uh-oh. I believe Farron Bradford has something he wants to say.
Okay. Well, it has to do with the O-line, too.
Oh, well, I'm glad.
He's on top.
Like I said, man, when that pops up, man, I apologize to you, Farron Bradford, for not seeing that sooner. All right? So we can pause our Chris Morgan. Let's talk with what my man's saying right here.
Regardless, the O-line coach, we need more talent in the trenches. Which O-line build should we draft? Stick with the smaller, agile zone blocking guy or big body offensive linemen who are movers of men? We did better on combo/man blocking compared to zone blocking.
You bring us some good points, man. Talking about the combo man blocking compared to zone blocking. For those that don't know, zone blocking is you're essentially blocking areas. So if we're running the ball to the right, everybody is just going to be taking what they call zone steps or bucket steps, right? 1, 2, and then they're just going to continue to progress towards the sideline and climbing up, but they're not necessarily saying, hey, Kendrick Green, go block this D tackle.
Whoever comes by.
Right. It could be a linebacker. It could be a corner. It could be a safety. It could be whoever. You just got to be moving. Now, typically you want smaller guys for that because you want guys that are able to play in space, able to pull and ultimately get in position. It really focuses more on position element of it, right? Whereas when you talk about the man and combo blocking, that's mano a mano. That's, Kendrick, you see the zero technique in front of you? Move him off the ball. You might have to do it by yourself, but move him off the ball. Whoever's at guard, whoever this guy's in front of you, move him off the ball. You're not getting help. Or you're going to get this tackle. He might slam down and jam this guy one time for you, but he's climbing to the linebacker. You got to take this block on by yourself. With that, you typically do like bigger body guys, stronger hand guys too, because you don't have that luxury of with the zone concept. If I feel like I've already got, position over here, you're protecting this inside arm. So now I'm working, you're working, and we're good like that. Whereas man-to-man blocking, I got to make sure that I got him. If he goes back inside, that's on me. So just with that, I mean, they are very different in terms of the style of players that you want. For me, honestly, man, when I watch Najee looks like a back that I would want running in a man blocking scheme. I think that he is more of a one cut downhill, run behind his pads type of guy. I feel like he makes it easier on defenders if you're having him shoulders to the sideline and read in the end of the line of scrimmage, then read in the 3 technique, and then read in the A gap for where he wants to cut. I think that minimizes something that he does really well, which is just put his foot in the ground and say, I'm bigger than you, I'm stronger than you. And because he's able to do that consistently, that's what makes him elusive. That's what makes him be able to jump over guys. It's set up off of the physicality. It's set up off of the threat of him running you over. But you lose that threat when he's going sideline to sideline in a zone concept, just reading the ends of the line of scrimmage and stuff like that. So with that information and knowing that we want to play through Najee, I'm all for combo man blocking, but with that, you definitely need to get bigger, beefier linemen. I think that's why even a guy like John LeGlue, he came in and worked out, even Kevin Dotson, because they're thicker body guys, they're stronger guys. Whereas when we talk about Kendrick Green, we said he's built more like a zone blocking guy. But you see him struggle when it's time for one-on-one blocking. But he thrives when you're talking about him getting out on the perimeter or climbing up to the second level. We always see him running down the field because he's very athletic, but he's built more for zone blocking versus man blocking.
Yeah. What does this guy do?
In terms of
is it up to him?
I
Or is it more up to
personally think it's
Canada?
to Canada. I think it's more so on Canada to decide what style of offense he wants, and then it's on Pat to just educate the techniques. Because the techniques are different. You heard me breaking them down in terms of zone versus man, the pros and cons to that. When you're talking about hand placement, when you're talking about
I'm assuming Canada's the
first
zone
step,
blocking scheme, right? More of that?
in a sense, yes, because it's a lot of the lateral, it's a lot of the jet sweep stuff. But at the same time, like, I just think of, if we're talking Canada as the college coordinator, it was definitely more zone. Whereas I felt last year we were getting a lot more man stuff,
Like
but
Ben
I
under
think
center type of stuff?
yeah, and seeing more of the downhill A gap, B gap runs from Najee versus him
And then we had
constantly
Kendrick
trying to
Green
go to
in
the
that,
side,
which was like,
and that's why he struggled there, right?
Got you.
Whereas when you're talking about, we don't see a ton of toss plays tonight. We don't see a ton of stretch plays.
on
where,
4th and 1 we do.
Right. Or think about the stretch front, right? Where Ben is under center and he has to get there, get under center and then haul tail to hand that ball from that stretch play. That's another zone concept run. Typically, we don't run that with Ben because it takes a lot for him to be able to go from under center. We did it out of the pistol. That was their variation of it. They would back Ben up. He gets it. It's a lot easier of a mechanic, but it makes it easier as a defender to read it, though. And that's the thing also.
How about we just should have tailored everything towards Ben? How about we do that?
I know you've been saying that, man. I know. I know you were saying it, man.
This is just.
I know.
It sounds insane.
I know, man.
I guess with this O-line coach thing, the other question is, I saw your boy bring up this tweet.
Uh-oh.
Because if we're going to compare Semo to this guy that we just hired, wouldn't we lean Semo a little bit more?
Just absolutely, 100%.
We'd be a little bit more positive about that.
But that was my reasoning of the whole, when we were talking about Semo being the guy, and it was always in-house hire. We don't want to do that. No more promote from inside.
Were people saying that was a bad thing? The only way, in my opinion, it would have been a bad thing is if we passed up Munchak for him. But that was
it. Like this, people wouldn't say if it was a bad thing or not, but what they were saying is that they just were tired of in-house hirings. Like, that's the consensus right now. They're just tired of it always being promotion from within, even though in a sense it hasn't been. Like, because Terrell Austin, people were pissed about him. That's a promotion from within. It's like, technically he wasn't.
He was already established somewhere else.
Right. We brought him into the organization, and then he developed, and then he went back to being a DC. But he hasn't been homegrown here. He's been
It's really
elsewhere.
only been Finkner and Butler.
Right. Those are like the main name guys like that, man. So, well, because you got Jerry O, the inside linebackers coach, and then Joey Porter as well to an extent. I don't know if you call that a promotion.
But Jerry O,
because
where's he gone? He's just been linebackers the whole
right.
time,
That's what I'm
right?
like. So yeah, we haven't really seen crazy promotion.
Matt
from
Canada.
within. Yeah.
I guess you could say that's more of outside. We brought him in QB's coach, but 1 year, all of a sudden, he's the offensive coordinator.
Right.
So I don't know. But anyway, Filippone, he said, he posted out a tweet, said people don't want to work with Canada. Maybe that's what ran Simo off. No, because I looked at it, I put it on my Big Deke News today. I'm like, dude, this doesn't mean anything. People didn't get along with Haley.
Yeah.
Like, this does not mean anything.
Does.
If Canada's good, he's good.
Absolutely.
That's all.
If a guy is good, you will respect him and you will play for him or play with him if they're to that level. If they're not,
maybe people don't think Canada's good. Maybe that's it, though.
I mean, that could be the case. And if that's the case, that's different. But the whole Chris Morgan thing, I just looked at it as maybe he just felt more comfortable with the situation in Chicago. Maybe he was feeling like,
they got their young guy, Fields.
You know what I mean? Like, he just feels like,
maybe he has a connection to the new coach,
well,
too.
that's what I was going to say. Or even in the sense that maybe he's eyeing a head coach spot potentially. And he's saying to himself, well, hey, man, I know in Pittsburgh I'm not getting the opportunity as long as Coach Tomlin's here. Maybe if I go to Chicago, we've seen they don't have this, we're not going to fire our guy. They give him about a 2 to 3 year window and they pull in the trigger. So if you're Chris Morgan, maybe you're saying to yourself, I'll play that game as well. But just like I said, and this is all just spitballing. We don't know that for certain. No different than we don't know for certain that he had an issue with Matt Canada. But we're just saying, like, when we play this speculation game like this, it can go anywhere. That's basically, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Munchak didn't want to come here because of Canada.
Right.
Simo left because of Canada. Yeah, you could go back and forth for days. The gossip, the rumor mills, and whatnot.
No question, man.
Something to think about, I guess. Having Canada here, maybe that could be affecting coaches.
We'll put it like this. If it is affecting them, it could easily be because of the lack of experience.
Lack of experience or different system.
Right, because think about when we talk about Pat. Pat, we said, man, he has an extensive resume at the NFL level. A mixed bag, but we can point to where he's had success and where he's failed. We can point to the fact that, hey, we at least feel comfortable that he is a competent NFL coach. With Matt Canada, the reason why we don't feel as confident is because we can't point to that just yet. He's only been coaching at the NFL level for this will be his 3rd season right now. 1 season as a QB coach, next season was offensive coordinator. So you could just see why it's a lot more skepticism around him, because it's like we can't point to where he's proven that he can at least have a Randy Fichtner year. Because Randy Fichtner, at least we could say, well, you know what? Ben still looked good. The offense still looked good. We were still being productive.
I think there's 2018 year. Ben led the league in passing.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So when I think of that, I'm like, man, at least let me get Matt Canada to that level, because I know how we talked about Randy Fichtner. And I'm like, man, Matt Canada hasn't even scratched that surface just yet. But yet it just seems like they are super confident in him. It's crazy.
Yeah, this will be a big year.
Yeah.
Personnel decisions, coaching decisions.
Yeah.
Be a big indictment on that type of stuff.
No, absolutely, man.
For better or for worse. Because at this point, I really don't like how things played out last year with Canada as the OC. Probably won't forget that. But at the same time, all right, he's the OC right now. And if we're talking about him having more of a college system, lateral system, let's see what the Steelers do in terms of personnel. Try to tailor it to him a little bit. I know we brought the receiver coach that was connected with him.
Yeah, he bringing all the Carolina Panther coaches up here, man.
So we'll see. If he's successful, I mean, it's going to make everyone eat our words.
Time out. How good was Carolina last year? We got 2 of their coaches right now. Just think about that. How good was Carolina last year, man? We done brought in a receivers coach. We done brought in the O-line coach. Who else we going to bring in? We're going to bring in the defensive coach. What's going on, man?
Because we had the receiver coach connection to Canada. This guy, not as much. I saw that he was at Memphis the year after Tomlin.
No.
At Memphis. Okay. The year after Tomlin, so no direct connection.
Did he eat lunch at Maryland's D Hall?
But right.
Has he ever been on Maryland's campus?
What about just Carolina to the Steelers, right?
That's another one, yeah.
That's got to be what it is.
That's it then, bro. That's it.
Familiarity in that
That's it.
part of it. So maybe these are borderline in-house hires.
the more we think about it, the more I don't like it. Jeez. man. But yeah, dude.
Just give him a chance. Whatever. Yeah. I would have rather had Semo. Is it hindsight 2020? If we actually do hire Semo, maybe I'm a little bit more upset. I actually don't think so because I have the same sentiments with Semo and this guy. Who else was better out there?
Right.
Who else? And Semo, at least last year, came in for Clem the last 2 weeks. Our offensive line looked a lot better than it did any other portion of the season.
But part of that also was
Glue and JC too.
Yeah, and that's the part that I'm always like, do we know if it was coach or was it personnel? We don't know because we didn't get those switches, any other time. But this is gonna be interesting though to see. But like I said, man, I'm cool with it in the sense of, number one, he is a guy with a ton of experience, and I'm cool with experience. It just makes you feel better than going with a not so proven candidate.
All right, we got Farron Bradford following up on his comment. Says, thank you, Moats. It was so clear watching last season, and this can be a bigger concern with our OC and scheme for guys we are drafting.
No, without a doubt, man. They're going to have to be cohesive in this approach. It can't look like last year where, like you say, you're trying to have Canada's scheme, but pieces that don't fit it, and you still just keep doing it. That's the part where it's like, man, we know what we need now. We have an idea of the scheme because we have a year of the NFL of Matt Canada now. So it's like the excuse last year was, hey, we don't know what it's going to look like. I get that. Well, now we do. So now let's go out here and make sure we do whatever it takes to give Canada every piece he needs so he can put his best foot forward so we can properly evaluate him. Because I want to know, is he good or not? Because right now, I really don't know. I don't know if it was him sabotaging Ben or was Ben sabotaging him. I don't know. Was the O-line in it? I don't know what was going on. Did Claypool,
was all in on it?
You know what I mean? Did Claypool have a side bet? You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know. Did the Sharks get to Deontay midseason and say, hey, look, big fella, you're doing too much right now?
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Like, those are the things I need to know. And I'm going to get that information this year.
It has to be the Sharks.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I think the Sharks got to him, bro.
Last year when he was having the drops, he went to the tank. This year, he's like defiant on Twitter and stuff. So he must know.
I can catch. I ain't tripping. Exactly. I got hands. I'm nice.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, man.
Let's go, UW. Says, speaking of big, strong bodies up front, Daniel Falele would be perfect. 6'9", almost 400 pounds. And Deke, you should know better than to trust Pony.
Well, the fact that you got Pony and 6'9", and you're referring to Deke, he is loving that as well because Deke is a 6'9" guy. I mean, you even got the jersey. That's like your go-to jersey.
Dotson.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. I'm not too familiar with Daniel just yet. I will add him to my list, though, man. Definitely check him out. And quick update, man. Shout out to everybody that has been emailing me those prospects at moatswinners@gmail.com. Everybody that's been sending prospects, we've been breaking down tape. We got a new list of guys we're going to talk about on today's show as well. So continue to send us those prospects. We will continue to to cut the tape and talk about these guys on these shows, man. All right. Once again, that is Moats' Winners. So my last name is Moats, and me and Deke are winners. And then it's at gmail.com. That's simple, baby.
There's a lot of controversy, a lot of back and forth about that dude.
Okay.
People are saying he's just hype, just garbage. We should be drafting him in the 5th round if we select him. Okay. This might be a polarizing guy we need to check out.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be interested to watch him then, man. I definitely will be, man. Definitely will. But the one thing I want to ask you, though, as it pertains to Pat, before we transition or continue going with the show, with Pat being the hire, I felt like initially if this would have been Mike Munchak, we wouldn't have felt as much of a need to have high-end talent or hit on the draft or, spin nice in free agency. We would feel confident
you thought
that
he could have developed
Munchak could
more.
develop. Absolutely. So my question to you is this. Do you feel the same now that it's Pat, or do you think that now offensive line has become more of a, pressing need with this hire?
Yeah, that's a good point. Munchak might have been a force multiplier,
right.
Whereas with this
and
guy,
we talk about that,
we might just be exactly back where we were. But I don't know if there was any other guy outside of Munchak, like you said, Cable, Doug Marrone. Those are the only guys. Those are the only guys you'd want to bring in. What's Cable? Is he actually around or no?
Let's
is he
check.
Retired?
Yeah.
Is he just giving up on football? Man, he had the one season with the Raiders as the head coach.
Dude, it was crazy.
I'm actually kind of interested because maybe this was the guy we missed out on.
Mm-hmm.
Offensive line coach. Wait, no, he's with the Raiders.
Oh, I see it's out there. Okay.
Yeah, he's with the Raiders, actually. So he was the head coach with them however many years back, but now he's back as the O-line
That's got to
coach.
be a weird situation. You use the boss for a little while, then you come back as an under. Just, yeah. I mean, I'm an
Yeah,
employee
it's like
now.
Tomlin coming back as the DC here.
Yeah, it'd be
like
weird.
10 years down the line or something. I don't see that happening. But yeah, I think that just goes to show how much we wanted Munchak. That's really it.
Yeah.
Because we were in that spot anyway of
very true, man.
needing good offensive line talent.
Yeah. Very true. So hopefully my man Pat can get the job done,
Right,
baby.
unless he proves to be – here's the problem. His experience in the NFL thus far hasn't given him the reputation of this elite O-line coach. Solid, really solid. But, yeah, maybe he can improve a little bit here. That's the best we could hope for now.
Yeah, without a doubt.
But, right, I still feel like we need to draft guys, pick up a guy in free agency.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that then,
I would have
man.
felt the same way with Simo, though.
No.
That's probably the end of the day. How
Fair
I feel
enough.
about it.
Yeah, for me, I look at it like this. If it was Munch, I wouldn't be concerned at all about personnel. I would think that, man, because I've seen, like personally, firsthand, I've seen these guys develop over 4 years with Munch. And I'm like, Munch, I don't know how you did that. Are you the second coming of Jesus? Because I know what this guy looked like before you started working with him. He was the worst offensive lineman I've ever seen in my life. And now you're getting this guy paid, like, big time money. What's going on here? But that's the Munch effect. If it would have been Simo, I would have probably been a little in between. Not full Munch, but definitely more than where I feel about Pat. But then with Pat, I definitely feel like more confident than Adrian Clem, but at the same time, I feel that we definitely got to bring in the right pieces now. Like the seriousness of it is very true right now. Whereas I felt like in the past, like, right hire, you don't have to feel as pressed on it. But yeah.
Good question, though.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. Just made me think of it a little bit. But let's go to this next topic if you're ready.
What do we got?
Well, up next, man, we did happen to have a Defensive Player of the Year award winner, TJ Watt. And, with TJ winning the Depot, it got me thinking. Just like with anything, where does he rank amongst other Depot winners? But instead of going league-wide, because, that's going to be a long list. Said, man, let's talk about where TJ Watt ranks amongst Steelers Defensive Player of the Award winners. Now, we've had 7, including TJ. You want to name the 7, or you want me to name them? I want to, you know them all? Let's see if you know them all first.
I got them written down.
Let's see if you,
do you want me to just look up
okay.
into the sky, though, and try to do it?
Sure. Lie to us all. Act like you're not looking at the screen. Who are the Steelers' 7 Defensive Player of the Year award winners?
Troy, Lambert, Blunt, Mean Joe, James Harrison, TJ. Did I miss one?
Yes, you did. You're at 6 right now.
I said Harrison.
Yep.
Harrison, Polamalu. Did I say TJ?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Let me do this again.
Yes, sir.
It's Rod Woodson.
Oh, yeah, you got it. That was the one. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because he's always the way, because it's like, he left, but it's like, no, he actually won here, though. So shout out to him for that. But in the chat, let us know, man, your thoughts. How would you rank TJ Watt in terms of the 7 total Pittsburgh Steelers that have won NFL Defensive Player of the Year award? You heard Deke just name them out. Let us know where he ranks on that list to you guys. Obviously, me and Deke will talk about where he ranks on our list as well.
So this is tough. You doing all time, or are we doing those specific seasons where they were at their career up to that point?
How you want to do it?
I don't know.
Well, where they at right now then? Take total careers into account then. We'll do
total
that.
careers.
So that way TJ get all his love and everybody else get all their love.
Yeah, I'd have to have him probably last. Then I could maybe make the case of him over. No, he's last. He's last. Are we just considering regular season?
Yo, why you keep saying it like that? He's like, y'all can see him over. Nah, he's last. Oh,
I was gonna say over Harrison maybe, but no, I can't do that. Because Harrison, the Super Bowl, the playoff stuff, that really counts.
Yeah.
Just because TJ, I mean, he's gonna break the Steelers' sack record next year, and he's only gonna be 6 seasons in.
Yeah.
Whereas that took Harrison his whole career.
Yeah. Very true. Very true.
So I gotta have TJ last, I think, just because the other dude's body of works are so good right now. All Hall of Famers. TJ, I mean, borderline, if he retires in 2 or 3 years, he could be a Hall of Famer too.
Oh yeah, he'll be in the conversation right now with that Depot. Yeah.
I looked at everyone's career up to the point where they won the DPOY. So Troy.
Hey, hold on, give me a sec real quick. I see y'all in the chat. List them though for me, 1 through 7, please. Because right now they get me with I would say 3, I would say 4. Just give me the 1 through 7 order as well in terms of how you would rank all those guys, not just TJ, all these guys as well. So that way I can just see your mindset. All right, continue though.
So Troy won his in his 8th season. What's weird about his too, back in 2010, I don't even remember that being one of his best seasons.
Serious.
I know we went to the Super Bowl, but I just always think of that 08 season, maybe because of the defense as a whole and what he did in the AFC Championship. But he had 7 picks that year, so maybe there's something I'm missing just off the top of my head.
You said that was
in 08,
right? Yeah,
that was Harrison.
Okay, yeah. See, I always keep thinking it was Troy 10, Harrison afterwards. Yeah, okay. So
Harrison came out of nowhere, really. Yeah. I mean, he had the good season before that, but then
because I always think of like 10 and 11 of how I just always would see Debo killing somebody, like literally killing somebody on the field, man. Yeah.
So with Troy, he won his in his 8th season. He had 6 Pro Bowls, 3 All-Pros. Harrison won his in his 6th season. He sat out his first 4 years, was more of a special teams guy, but he only had 2 All-Pros and 1 All-Pro. Mean Joe Green, he won 2 Defensive Player of the Years. His first one, he had 4 Pro Bowls, 1 All-Pro. That was his 4th season, also Rookie of the Year. 6 Pro Bowls, 3 All-Pros by his 6th season when he won his 2nd. Rod Woodson, 5 Pro Bowls, 4 All-Pros. That was in his 7th season. Mel Blount, only 1 Pro Bowl and 1 All-Pro, and that was his 6th season. So he didn't have that much hardware before he won the DPOY, but his interception numbers were crazy that DPOY year. Jack Lambert, he won in his 3rd season. He won it pretty quick. 2 Pro Bowls, 1 All-Pro, but also 1 Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
TJ, his numbers, whenever you consider when he won the DPOY, stack up maybe the best out of all these guys.
Okay.
4 Pro Bowls and 3 All-Pros in his 5th season.
Yeah.
So when you compare him to all those guys, he's on that type of pace right now.
Now,
if not the best pace.
Now, how do you feel about the Pro Bowls now that TJ has, or just in general, this generation versus some of the older time guys where we know, for example, Pro Bowls meant more, how they were voted upon was a little bit harder to get back in the day versus now? Does that alter your feelings a little bit? Well, just in the sense of like, we talk about now how guys get in the Pro Bowl. It's like, bro, you ain't even got to be good. If you popular, you're good.
Well, there's a lot of alternates. TJ has earned all of his Pro Bowls,
I would agree.
That's the thing.
Okay.
I don't think there's a season you could look at for him.
No. I'm not saying it as a knock on TJ, but I'm saying it as when you refer to his Pro Bowls and then you refer to a Jack Lambert or a Mel Blount not having as many. That's the part where I'm just like, man, because I don't know all the history in terms of like when they started doing them for those guys. Because I know like certain stats, like sacks, for example, like Mean Joe doesn't have that because they weren't keeping those stats like that for him. But then when we're comparing these numbers, I'm like, well, man, where does that? All right, how does that work there? So just thinking about it,
No, I don't think that hurts TJ at all right now, just because his numbers are pretty insane right now. If anything, he's been underrated right now at this point in his career, just because you still see people ranking Myles Garrett ahead of him. It's like crazy to me.
But see, I don't feel like it's crazy though. I just think that both of those guys are dominant. They're just different players. One's a 3-4, one's a 4-3. One is a like freaky athlete. One is a like true DN. So depending on which you like more, it's kind of like a pro style quarterback versus a dual threat quarterback. For the people that like love Lamar, I'm sure it's people that just love Mahomes better. And they're like, or they love because Josh Allen still is kind of like in that mix where he can run and pass. But like certain people just like that. They're like, I only want pro-style quarterbacks, or they only want athletes at quarterback, or they only want big receivers. This guy only wants small receivers. So that's why, because both of those guys are still close. Don't like TJ went at
Myles
Depot.
Garrett's a hell of a edge rusher. It's just the production. It just speaks for itself with TJ.
No, I'm with you on that.
It's crazy.
But that's all I'm saying in the sense of, yes, this season he finally went and did the 22 whatever, right? 22 and a half. But before then, we didn't get the 22 and a half just yet. So obviously we take that into context as well. That's all I'm saying in the sense of now if we're starting to see this next year and people are still putting Myles ahead of him, that's different. But I don't think prior to this season that was too far-fetched to have either one of those guys ranked 1 and 2 because they both are dominant players.
Yeah, so I got TJ last.
So, who do you have at 1 then?
Oh, 1 out of all these defensive players?
Or how would you do it then? Yeah, if TJ is last for you, give me a 7.
Here's my Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
I have Ben.
Does Ben make your all depot list as well?
No, but this may be. I'm trying to think this
You know what I'm
out
saying? Like,
because my Mount Rushmore. For
and do you
Steelers-
include coaches on your Mount Rushmore?
No,
Now, why not?
no,
Why?
no.
Why?
I don't like that.
So, like, a Chuck Noll can never be on a Steelers Mount Rushmore. A Bill Cowher couldn't be on a Steelers Mount Rushmore.
I'm just doing players
Mike
only
Tomlin?
Mount Rushmore.
Because you read it out of
If I
spots.
include the coach, Troy's gone. That's all. Here's my Mount Rushmore. This is always subject to change, but
Okay.
as of right now, I've said this maybe the past year or so. Ben, Troy, Mean Joe, Jack Lambert.
Okay.
So with that being the case, my top three would be Mean Joe, Lambert, Troy. I think you got to go Mean Joe 1. Between Troy and Lambert, oof, that's a tough one. That's a real tough one.
Yeah.
Troy was like
Yeah.
the guy on those defenses. Lambert, more hardware. He had a lot of other guys around him, though, too, like in terms of Hall of Famers. I think I'll go Lambert. I never got to see him play, but everything I hear about Lambert was like he was that dude. So I'll go Mean Joe, Lambert, then Troy. If I had to go top three.
What's the rest of them, though?
Oh, how I would rank? Okay.
Yeah, don't know.
Oh, do you have an actual ranking?
I just want to hear your ranking
Okay,
first.
okay. Hold on. Yeah. I like this. Okay.
These are 7 defensive players. Like, think about, first off, just how outlandish that is that we even get to rank the Steelers only 7 NFL Defensive Player of the Award winners. Like, it's organizations out there, they can't even do this.
So I have TJ last, so that leaves
So you got Woodson, James, and
Blunt.
Yeah.
I got to go Woodson at 4 then. Ooh.
So where you putting Mel at?
Well, I've always had Woodson over Blunt.
Okay.
But now what do I do with Blunt and Harrison? Ooh, that's tough. That's really tough.
That boy said he got Woodson over Blunt. I'm going to tell Mel
I'll
next
go-
time we see him, too.
No, I'll go
I'm
Blunt.
a snitch.
I'm
No, you wait till we see Mel next time. I'm say, Mel, you see that guy right there recording you with the microphone on the speaker and everything like that? That guy said that Rod Woodson is better than you. Yes, him right there. He goes by the name of Eric. Yes, go talk to him.
I think I got to go Blunt over Harrison due to Blunt's better longevity. Like I mentioned with Harrison, wasn't really part of the Steelers defense those first 4 years, outside of special teams, maybe some spot plays here and there. Whereas Mel Blunt, he was a part the whole time. Didn't leave for the Bengals, didn't leave for the Patriots either. So
Loyalty.
we'll go Mel Blunt above Harrison. So he's 5. Yeah, so we
All
go
right.
TJ. Here's the thing. Man, that Harrison pick in the Super Bowl is always going to help him. But
Talk about it then. It's all right. It's not a negative.
I'm just trying to think when TJ could surpass Harrison.
When he gets one of those plays in the Super Bowl then.
His
'Cause
numbers.
You even going back to your Eli Manning conversation, you already make it very clear. You put way more stock on those type of moments than regular seasons.
But
No.
Here's my
You
thing.
have been very clear about that. Very clear. So TJ's has been regular season. Debo's was Super Bowl. You told me that's why you like Eli over all them other dudes because
well,
he did
I
in the
do
Super
think
Bowl.
quarterback position's a little different than the rest of the roster, just because you have the ball in your hand every time.
Debo had the ball in his hand.
Like TJ's regular season stats will have to just be outrageous if he doesn't have the same playoff success as James Harrison. Like
Yeah.
at some point, because I think he can surpass him at some point during his playing career.
Yeah.
Is that in a year? Is that in 2 years? I don't know, but he'd have to get probably 20 sacks over Debo, maybe another DPOY to solidly put him over
Without
him.
having the Super Bowl and signature
Any
play
playoff
like
stuff.
that.
Because
Okay.
even last year we talked about, in the past we talked about how TJ wasn't having as much playoff success. Like, what's the point of paying him the contract? He played pretty good in that Chiefs game.
Okay, I agree.
So he had some stuff there, but not a sustainable run that we saw from any of these guys, really. I mean, I didn't get to see Blunt, Lambert, Mean Joe Green, but I'm sure the 4 Super Bowls, they've had some good playoff moments. You know what I mean?
Yes, they are held in high, very high regard.
So that's my list. Mean Joe, Lambert, Troy, Rod Woodson, Mel Blunt, James Harrison, TJ Watt right now.
For sure. I still can't believe you had my man Rod over my man Mel. I had to call both my man because I like them both, but dude, that's all right.
Rod, though, man.
All right. Do we want to read off the chats list first, or do you want me to give you mine first? How you want to do this? What you choose today?
You go first, and we'll just
All right.
read off the chats at the end.
For sure. Well, for me, man, it starts with me and Joe. If I'm remembering correctly, he's the only one that won it twice.
Yeah.
Everybody else has won it once. So it starts with him. I mean, it always starts with
The
Joe,
Godfather.
Right? It always starts
Yeah.
with me and Joe. He is the consummate Steeler, D-line. Like, that's the guy. And he's actually cool, too. Whew, this is where we get thick and dicey. For me, man, I'm not going to lie to you. Next on the list, I have Mel Blount.
Okay.
Anytime you're able to dominate in a way that forces teams to change a rule for you, and then you just proceed to dominate even more, it's hard for me to just overlook that. That to me reminds me of the Gilmore stat we talked about all the time, where it's like, yo, he scored more than the guys that he was guarding, and he's guarding the number one receivers out there. That right there by Mel is just insane. Like, I think of that the same way when you like mention Debo's pick six in the end zone. I think of that part for Mel. Like, do you realize the impact? We're still seeing the impact of his play today. We even saw it in the Super Bowl. You can't even touch guys a certain way no more because of what he did, because of how dominant he was out there. So for me, man, that's why I have him at 2. Oh, all right. This is tough as well. Because now I'm stuck with Lambert and baby Jesus. I will go baby Jesus because he was my teammate and I like his hair. But daggone Lambert is very, very, very close on his heels because both of them dudes were just freaks. Both of those guys were just special in the sense of like some of the things that they did. When you talk about like Troy and those highlight reel picks, his ability to time snaps and jump over the line of scrimmage, his willingness and just overall confidence to say, I know I'm supposed to be in the middle of the field and we're playing man to man, but I'm about to jump this route, you know, that's a 3-yard out and pick this to the house. Like, you're not just doing that. I don't care how much tape you watch, and I watch a ton of tape. It's still things I'm like, bro, I will never take that chance. You just can't do it. Troy is that guy. He's wired that way where he will go out there and do it and make those plays. So that's why I have him at 3, Lambert at 4. Then from there, I have Rod Woodson at 5. I just think that his career was better as a whole, and obviously he's a Hall of Famer too. Then from there, Debo. Because Debo, man, I felt like when we're looking at the list, I do think when TJ's career is done, we're going to look at Debo and he'll be last on this list to me. And just in the sense of like career-wise. Because with Rod, Troy, Lambert, Blunt, Green, all those guys, like they're gold jacket guys. And we said with Debo, like, I still think he's fringe right now, but that could change just based on this last class I just got. And I tell you that, like, that's a whole nother conversation. But as a whole, I think that TJ is in within a year or two of taking that next step. Like I said, TJ just needs that playoff run. He hasn't had that. And that's the difference when you talk about all these other guys on this list. They have hardware. They
Yeah, you even see it with
you know
Von
what I'm
Miller,
saying?
Aaron
Yeah.
Donald.
It's like they've done it and they do it at the highest level in these games. And that's the part where it's like, we just need to see that from him. We got a glimpse of it in this game this year in the postseason, but it's like, no, we need that signature performance. That one where it's like, that's him. You know?
It's not all on him. We
No,
need to
it's
have
not.
a good
No,
offense
definitely, yeah.
to go with it.
Yeah.
Because J.J. Watt is a perfect
Mhm.
example of that type of
No,
stuff.
absolutely, man.
You got to have a good team, too. So hopefully
Yeah.
we could do that for TJ so he could showcase that
Yeah.
in playoffs upcoming.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So once again, for me, I had Mean Joe. Then from there, obviously went with Mel Blount at 2, Baby Jesus at 3, Jack Lambert, a.k.a. the Boogeyman, Mr. Dracula himself at 4, Rod Woodson at 5, Debo 6, TJ Watt 7. Whew.
Makes the most sense to me.
I would agree. Let's see what the chat said, though, man. Let's see how they rank their list.
He's just not. It's so young in his career, but as I
He
went
has time,
over
bro. He has a ton of time.
the pace that he's on,
Mm-hmm.
he could surpass all these dudes.
Yeah.
It's all going to depend on the team around him, though, when you're talking about the playoffs and Super Bowl runs. Because 2 Super Bowls and 4 Super Bowls for all the. Not Rod Woodson, actually, though. That's the thing. He has Super Bowls
Well, he has
from
Super
other
Bowl with
teams.
Baltimore.
Yeah.
So he's multiple.
But this is what I'm talking about. We still consider Rod Woodson one of the top Steeler defenders of all time. So TJ Watt can still be in that class
the thing
without
that's crazy,
Super
though,
Bowls.
with that, though, I wonder league-wide, what's the perception on Rod? Is he a Steeler or is he a Raven?
Oh, Steeler. Yeah, Steeler. if anything, I mean, he went 49ers too. He did 49ers and Raiders as well. Raiders at the end.
How long was he in Baltimore though, bro? In comparison to Pittsburgh,
I'm not sure. I think Pittsburgh definitely is his best run.
I
9 years
Pittsburgh was
maybe.
his best run, but I don't know. Yeah, check that real quick, please.
He switched to safety with the Raiders too. I'll go to Pro Football Reference.
Yeah. Hey, I see you, Ty Sikowski. He said we got the same order, man. Shout out to you, man. I like that.
Pittsburgh was 10 years.
Okay.
Baltimore 4, Oakland 2.
Bet.
Yeah, San Fran snuck in there 1. Actually, San Fran was the first team after Pittsburgh.
Oh,
and then he went Baltimore for 4.
Interesting. Yeah, I was always curious about that, man. Now in the chat, I am seeing everybody saying he's definitely a Steeler. He is a Steeler. Most people, Let's Go UW says most people that he knows associated him with the Raiders, though. I know for me, I thought of him as...
Yeah, if you're in my age group, maybe, or even your age group, because that was early 2000s.
For me, I thought of him as... like the same way I think of Kevin Green with the Steelers as like that time frame, but short lived. I always remember Rod in that vein, but then I think of Rod more so as a Baltimore guy for me, just because the timing of it and everything like that. Whereas like when we sit here with like Pittsburgh people and we look into it, it's like, oh no, man, he's always a Steeler. He's a Steeler. That makes a lot more sense though.
I just remember him in the early Maddens for me, like Madden 02, Madden 03, NFL Street at the time. Rod Woodson was on the Raiders. So I think at that point, the only reason I knew he was a Steeler was because my dad maybe mentioned him whenever he saw him on the screen, like, oh man, he played for the Steelers. But I didn't know really the history because obviously I wasn't alive yet for a portion of that. But yeah, I'd say Steeler for sure. 10 years, and then that's the best years of his career too. The DPOY.
Oh no, without
you see some of these seasons, the All Pro. What do you have? 5 All Pros with the Steelers.
Yeah, without a doubt.
6 Pro Bowls, 7 Pro Bowls actually. Yeah. So I guess we got to go Steelers then.
Okay. So let's see what the people ranked though, in terms of how they had their list for Steelers Defensive Player of the Award winners. All right. First one though I see, is Jalen Johnson. Jalen has Troy at 1.
Whoa.
Mel Blount at 2. Is this in order? It may be. Rod Woodson at 3. TJ Watt at 4.
Mean Joe at the end.
Hold on, bro. He has Jack Lambert at 5. Mean Joe at 6. And D-Boy at 7. Maybe he's just listing the names. Maybe that's what he just did. I'm hoping.
Mean Joe at 6.
I don't know. But you know what though? Let's keep reading the list. Phantom TV says Troy at 1, Joe Green at 2, Jack Lambert at 3, Mel Blount at 4, TJ at 5, Rod Woodson at 6, Debo at
not yet.
7.
Just not yet. Not yet, man. 2 or 3 years maybe. I think 2 or 3 years TJ could be in maybe that 4 or 5 spot.
Okay.
There's some factors depending, but yeah, if he gets a second DPOY, keeps these stats up. Yeah. Because if we have Rod, where do we have Rod? Like around 4 or 5? I think I
had him at 5 because I had him in front of Debo and TJ.
So yeah, he's never won a Super Bowl. I don't know what he did in that playoff run, wherever we lost against the Cowboys, or what he did in other playoffs. But for having no Super Bowl, we still can view him in that type of vein or have him above other guys like Harrison that have Super Bowls. Right. So TJ, if he keeps it up, we could get him in that mid-tier range even before his career's over.
Absolutely. Here's another one. Ultimate Elite 11. He says Mean Joe Green at 1, Troy Polamalu at 2, Mel Blount at 3, TJ Watt at 4.
No.
Rod Woodson at 5.
No,
Rod Woodson. Wait a minute. Jack Lambert at 6.
You can't do that.
James Harrison at 7. Lord.
My dad is probably puking right now. Jack Lambert was his guy.
God.
You can't have him at 6. You can't have Mean Joe or Lambert on the bottom half of the list.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, if they're not in that top 4, like, whew. And even me, I felt weird. Like, oh, my God, dog. Like, this is, whew.
Lambert, you can't do it. You can't do it.
Wow.
TJ over Lambert. Oh, man.
That's wow. I like it, though. I like this, though, man. All right, we got Booyah. He says Green at 1. Mel Blount at 2, Jack Lambert at 3, Troy Polamalu at 4, Rod Woodson at 5, D-Boy at 6, and then TJ at 7. Okay,
I was close to yours.
Yeah, in fact, that might be like identical. Oh, he flip-flop Lambert and Troy. That was the thing there. Let's see who else has their list coming in.
I got Bob Quinn.
Oh, go for it. Yeah.
Oh, whoa, whoa.
Hey,
All right, ready?
Hey,
Mean
now.
Joe,
Okay.
1. Lambert, 2. Blunt, 3. Palomalu, 4. Harrison at 5. Watt at 6. Rod Woodson, 7.
All right.
Maybe you didn't like how Rod Woodson left.
Said you traitor. Gosh.
Oh, you'll like this one.
Who's this from?
This is like the Steve Young versus Ben thing for me. This might get you heated. Belo, I got Rod Woodson as the best DB ever over Dion.
Bro, stop it.
Because he could do everything, and I grew up in the 90s, so I seen it.
Bro, stop it. I've had some
Belo.
Listen, I've had some of my most heated arguments.
We need to get Belo on the lines.
I've had my most heated arguments behind this conversation, okay? Y'all not going to tell me that Rod Woodson was better than Deion Sanders. I know this is Pittsburgh. I know we love the Steelers. I personally know Rod as well. Love the dude. Awesome. Prime is prime, bro. Like, I get, he could tackle. I get all that. Prime is prime. Prime is levels to this thing, okay? Prime is you just white out that side of the field. That's what prime does, okay? Prime, you don't got to tackle when they're not even going to look your direction, okay? And we ain't going to talk about when he gets the ball in his hands. We know. You might as well just make reservations for 6. Now, I know Rod can do it. I know Rod nice. But prime is reservations for 6. That's all I'm saying. Leave me alone.
This might be the most blasphemous list I've seen yet.
Uh-oh. What you got?
Palomalu at 1. Mean Joe at 2.
Okay.
Rod Woodson at 3. TJ at 4. James Harrison at 5. Blunt at 6.
Bro,
Lambert at 7.
Yo, what?
Lambert at 7.
Yo.
Come on, bro.
Call your dad. Tell him me and him, we got to leave. We're gonna meet at some local watering hole, okay? Because clearly this is unacceptable. We got to do better.
Nick Y bringing some sense back a little bit. He says Green 1, Lambert 2, Blunt 3, Rod Woodson 4, Troy at 5, James Harrison 6, then Watt at 7. Well,
Fair.
Troy, I can see. He's at 5. That means you're gonna have to drop Blunt or Rod down, depending on how you feel about him. What I have Troy. I think I had him at
3. Yeah.
Had him at 3. Yeah. Because I went Green, Lambert, Troy 3, Rod, Blunt, Harrison, Watt. Yeah. Thomas Riley brings another one in here. Green, this one's like you. Oh, he's bringing in Ham too, even though.
Well, see, because that's the thing. It's like if we're talking all-time Steelers defenders, that's different. But he didn't win a DPOY. That was the only reason why we didn't include him. Because Jack. Man, ever since I got a chance to talk to Jack that first time, y'all saw the interview. That was my first time meeting him. Man, I've been like, yo, I like.
Looks like he could be our GM or something.
Seriously, right?
Like our Jerry West here.
Yeah, he definitely got that vibe about him, and he's definitely in tune. But he's doing the Penn State stuff right now, still.
He says Mean Joe at 1, Blunt at 2, Lambert / Ham at 3,
package deal.
4 at Palomalu, 5 Woodson, 6 Harrison, 7 TJ.
Okay.
So some people actually have TJ in that 3 to 5 range.
Yeah.
But that means they're bumping down Mean Joe and Lambert.
That's the part for me where I'm like,
can't be doing that.
Yeah. You got one more you want to read off, man? Or actually, I think Farron Bradford has something in the super. He says he has he didn't do the full. This is probably, I think, earlier on. He put TJ not top 5, he said, hold on, TJ top 5, not 2 through 5. Oh, so he's saying TJ is number 1 on his list. That's what he's saying.
No,
that Farron Brady says TJ's top 5 and not 2 through 5. That's what that means.
Come on.
That's what he's saying, bro.
I told you, if you want to talk pace throughout their career up to the point where they won their DPOY, he's on the same pace, if not the best pace.
I would agree.
There's still something you said for a full career, a full body of work. He's not there yet.
Now, will you take into context down the line when TJ's retired the expanded seasons versus what some of the older guys were playing? Because obviously the season length wasn't 16 or even 17 games in some cases.
Well, with TJ in some of these games, I mean, last year he was only playing 15 games. You got to see how it plays out, because maybe the numbers will just be
more balanced out, or would you?
No, I just think they might be more inflated, so they might be more gaudy. But you kind of know that. I don't know. I don't think it's one game.
Okay.
So it's not. I don't think it's anything crazy.
Got you.
Because when they changed the 16 at some point in the 70s.
Yeah, but they were doing like 14. I want to say
early 70s. It was 14.
Yeah.
I think you might be right on that. Yeah, I don't think it's that big of a difference. I think we all understand the area difference too, because when we talk about quarterbacks, You look at Bradshaw's numbers versus Ben. You look at some of those dudes in the 70s or even like the 60s. Johnny Unitas.
But you
come on,
only do
they're
that.
nowhere
You
close.
only do that when you saying. Right now, you're saying. When we're actually talking about quarterbacks, you're not saying. You don't bring that up like that. You don't take that context in.
No, I understand the context, but
You just
sometimes it
ignore it,
just
though.
doesn't matter.
Why? Why does it not matter? It should always matter. He said, nope. Not if it includes 7. No, it don't matter then.
No, there's levels to it though. You can understand. You gotta. Let's have the conversation a different time. I don't want to do it.
This blasphemy I'm seeing in this chat. William Anderson.
1-7, Arthur Moats. Steelers says that.
Oh man.
Username Steelers.
Lord.
This might be the Steelers YouTube account saying that.
You know what? Maybe it is, man. Maybe it is. Yeah. I hope not.
They're checking in on us.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I hope not. We don't want them problems. Anywho, ready to go to this next topic, though, man. The fun.
I like that.
The beef right here, man. All right, let's see. Do we have, I think we had one super that just popped in. If you could get that.
The Jordan Love one?
Yeah, if you get that real quick, then after that, I'll go ahead and switch this over to this next topic.
Steeler Nation on fire. If the Steelers are looking to trade for a quarterback, Jordan Love should be last QB to look to trade for. I don't know if he's trying to say at least a quarterback to trade for. He's saying the last QB.
So
I don't really want to trade for Jordan Love. I'm with him. I don't really want to do that trade.
Well, for Jordan, I mean, he's not proven just yet. He's a first-round draft pick, but we don't know if he's good, bad. We don't know any of that just yet. Based on his collegiate tape, we knew that, he had some things that made him exciting, but at the same time, he wasn't a finished product. He was going to need to develop anyways. So with that, I'm cool because he's going to cost a lot too.
William Anderson says Dwayne Woodruff better than Dion.
That's the one I was talking about when I said y'all got to stop this, man. This is getting out of hand. This is getting out of hand. And Dwayne,
you about to shut off the podcast right now?
You saw I almost walked away when they put Mel and Lambert as the final 6 and 7. I'm just like, bro, as a defender, it's like, bro, what are we doing? What are we doing? You're hurting me. You're hurting my heart.
What's next?
All right, but next on the list, this is the fun part. This is where we get into some of this hard-hitting, good old football talk. We talking NFL draft prospects because we've asked you guys on multiple occasions to send, your emails of your different prospects that you want us to break down and give you our thoughts on them. And ultimately, do we think that they could fit the Steelers draft position and things along that? So, as I've said, and we'll continue to say, we take those names and we, come back with some good people for you. So, we do have a nice list of 5 guys we'll be talking about today. 3 linebackers, 2 defensive tackles. And, anybody that wants more prospects talked about or different prospects talked about, send us an email to Moats, Moats. Don't forget my S, okay? Winners, because me and Deke are both winners. Okay, moatswinners@gmail.com. Send it there. Let us know who you want us to check out. And, man, we'll cut the tape on and talk about those guys. But the first guy I wanted to talk about was out the University of Georgia. All right. Now, it's going to be a couple guys out the University of Georgia. But this first guy, linebacker, number 41, Channing Tindall. I think that's how you say his last name. Now, with Channing, man, he's an interesting guy. 6'2", 230. I think he is a very raw guy, but he's extremely athletic. Mixed bag in terms of his usage. He rotated him with, I think they say Quay Walker. They say his last name. But, with Channing, man, he's a guy that flies to the ball. When you watch him on tape, he is shot out of a cannon at times. And he arrives with really, really bad intentions, which I really like a lot about him. I just think as a whole, man, he is, like I said, so raw, but I think his potential is through the roof. Just when you look at how fast he is, the size he has, the prerequisites when you're watching him blitz. I think that he could be a nice cover guy, but I just don't know because we haven't seen a ton of it on tape from the games that I had watched. But as a whole, man, I think that, this is a guy that he plays with great energy and passion. And he just plays extremely hard. Like, you watch him, man, it's some stuff where you're just like, you're the one who made that play. You were all the one on the other side of the field in coverage, and you went and got a tackle for a loss on a guy scrambling around. Like, that's some of the stuff that Channing brings to the table that, to me, initially just jumped off the screen that I was like, you know what, I like this guy for those type of qualities right there.
Yeah, as soon as I started watching him, I was like, are we sure this guy's worse than Nakobe Dean right now? Are we sure that he should be projected in like the second or third round? I don't even know. Some people might even have him in the fourth round range because of the inexperience. And that's really the only negatives that I'm seeing popping up. One of them is his eyes, figuring out exactly like where he needs to be on some of like these play actions, or sometimes he's overlapping some of his own players. Outside of that, inexperience, the physical intangibles and just what he has talent-wise is enough to, maybe for the Steelers really consider this prospect, I think. Yeah. Because of the athleticism, the speed, the height too. And we just got to see.
He looks taller than 6'2", but he looks smaller than 230. If that, like, when I think of 6'2", 230, I think of more like short, stocky, almost like a Devin Bush build.
Yeah, I was surprised whenever I looked up his height at 6'2". I thought he was going to be like 6'3" or 6'4".
I thought the same thing. Yeah, he looks like 6'3", 220-ish to me personally. Almost like a Tevin Smith or Nigel Bradham. Like, those are the kind of guys that I thought of when I was watching him. But something that you hit on in terms of his eyes, that is what I have written down. I said that I think he needs like legit coaching to refine him and just ultimately develop him, because at times I don't know if he's just so gung-ho about being more physical that he will put his fundamentals to the side in terms of his reads, in terms of his hand placement, in terms of angles, because he's just trying to get there. Because like I said, he plays so hard. Like, you watch him, and part of him playing that hard is because he rotates. Sometimes it's package or personnel based. He would be the guy that they would bring in as like their dime linebacker, right? Obvious pass situations or lighter personnel that you're playing against, right? In terms of 11, one running back, one tight end. Whenever it was two running backs or two tight ends, he wasn't on the field as often as some of the games that I watched. So I was trying to figure out, was it because of him being a senior and the other guy that he was rotating with being seniors, and both of the guys were pretty good? Was that the reason? Was it they thought that the other guy was better than against the run? Did they just want to rotate these guys every couple of series? Like,
maybe
it was
they had
hard.
More faith in the other guy.
Yeah, it was hard watching it to find like the rhyme or reason behind it, because in the SEC championship, he was definitely only utilized in the passing situation. So anytime it was light personnel, he was on the field. You watch him versus Tennessee, he's just rotating out there every couple of series. You watch him against Dagon, I think it was Auburn. I think that was the other game I watched. You watch him that game, and he didn't start, but he played pretty much starter quality like snaps. So with him, it's a mixed bag. But I do, like I said, man, in terms of the potential that he has, if you get him with the right coaching staff that can help him understand to trust his eyes and to ultimately use his hands, because he takes on a ton of blocks just going full speed, but shoulder it. College, you can get away with it. At the NFL, they're just going to hold you. And they're not going to call it, because the referees don't have to when you don't use your hands and you allow these guys to just wrap you up like that. So that's the thing that I thought of with him. But the straight line speed, that jumps off the tape every single time. When you're watching him go for a running back, you're watching him chasing down some type of person with a ball. Like,
even just blitzing,
he beelines. Now, going back to even his blitzing, because I do like when I see him blitz. My issue with his blitzing is this. He's late a lot because of his disguise. Now, that's a coaching point in the sense of, you watch him when he's blitzing from like walked out on a receiver in the slot. His alignment is still at 5 yards. And it's like, I get it. You're fooling the quarterback. You're fooling the receiver. You're even fooling the offensive line. But the reason you're fooling them is because they all know that you can't get there from 5 yards out off the ball, and with that 2x4 alignment in terms of him being walked out. So what I would say if I'm coaching him is still a half a step, maybe even 2 steps. If you line at 3.5 yards, that offensive line is not going to be able to tell. Line at 3.5, eyes on this receiver, or talking like you're communicating to somebody in coverage, and now you found a way to help you, because he's flying to the ball and he's just missing. But that's the reason, because his Hollywood is so good. But it's like, yo, you don't have to be perfect. We don't want your disguise to be that perfect. Get to where you can actually get there, because what ends up happening is this. At Georgia, he gets away with it because you got just elite talent. And we can point to that. But at the NFL level, where it balances out, the issue that you run to is the Trey Norwood Vegas Raiders situation, where a guy is late. You got a guy man-to-man versus a top-tier receiver or a speedster or anything like that. Yeah. You can't be late. You can't missed that because you were Hollywood, and that's the coach point that I would really hit home with him on it. Outside of just focusing on the basics of shuffle a little bit, but I don't even think I need to coach the shuffle too much because he does a good job of that. And for him, once he sees the ball, he just goes and gets it. But using his hands more when he takes on those blockers, those are some of the things that he could clean up. But with the right coaching, I feel very confident in Channing. And I think that, honestly, man, I'm with you. Like, I could easily see him being one of those, wow, wasn't an early guy, when he develops. But right now, if I'm one of these teams, I do kind of view him a little bit more as not a project in the sense of like long term, but just in the sense of like, he's a little rough around the edges. Like super raw, super talented, but just got to clean it up a little bit. It's kind of like, when we get a little, when you line this thing up and shave it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the only things that are really that negative are the inexperience up to this point. And I guess you go back and question, why wasn't he playing earlier? But that Georgia defense was pretty damn good.
Bro, the more you
It
watch
happens
them,
in
I'm
college.
just
Dudes get
nuts,
lost in the
bro.
shuffle. Remember with Arkansas's running backs where didn't they have three guys?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It was McFadden, Felix Jones, and
Hillis.
the Hillis. Yeah, he was the other one. I was like, it was nuts.
Yeah, McFadden got a lot of the shine, but you saw Peyton Hillis for like a season and a half was actually an decent NFL
cover
running
Madden.
back.
Come on, man.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It was, but he had a season. He
Felix
had that one
Jones,
season,
bro. Yeah, he actually didn't pan out that well.
No, chill out. He had some years in Dallas.
It wasn't terrible.
He had some years in Dallas.
You thought he was going to be like full-time running back, though. That never really happened. He was splitting with Marion Barber early on.
But I was a Marion Barber guy, though.
He was sick.
Yeah, he
Marion
ran
Barber
hard
was
as heck.
badass.
Ran hard as heck, man.
But no, that could happen in college. Whenever you have like LSU, think of the receivers that were down
Or
there.
how many, dude, even when
Alabama
think about when
receivers.
Patrick Queen came out. Remember, we talked about Patrick Queen's draft, and it was like, Cleveland took the third guy. I think it was another team took another one of their guys. You're like, all them dudes is all at the same time. Like, it's tough to get on the field with some of these bigger universities, man. But the one thing I say with Channing, though, bro, his speed, like,
how do you feel about him in coverage?
crazy.
I think I read something. I even saw like him. Didn't he make a pick like down the sideline against Florida?
Yeah, he had a nice
But then
play.
I also seen some stuff that I read about. It was like, so in coverage, but looks like he has the intangibles to do it in terms of turning his hips. He just needs to be coached up.
Needs the coaching in a major way coverage wise, but more so because he doesn't have a lot of exposure doing it. Typically, they blitzed him a lot, and they would leave Nakobe Dean as the cover guy. Now, Nakobe, we'll talk about him in a little bit as well, but Channing was their blitzer. Channing was the guy that they would just send, and that was why you, like, in terms of trying to evaluate him as a man-to-man cover guy, because he had some zone dropping stuff, but it was all just cover 3 hook drop. And honestly, cover 3 hook drop is like the most boring drop as an inside linebacker, especially if you're not getting any crossers or any ball action over where the center is, 10, 15. Like, it ain't really nothing to say yay or nay on. But in terms of him having the hips, in terms of him having the speed, in terms of him having the length, the arms and stuff like that, I definitely think that you could coach it up, but it would take a little bit more for that. I think initially, if you're bringing him in, you love him against the run, and you're going to use him as your bona fide blitzer. Like, he's going to be your blitz guy. We talked about remember it was Vince Williams and Shea, or Vince and Devin was like, yo, Vince the blitzer. That's what you would do with him early on, until he just starts to understand how to cover it. Because a lot of times when you got young players that are fast like him but don't really have a lot of experience covering, they think they got to run full speed every time. They think they got to be 4-3 to cover guys every time, and that is not how it works. It's not how it works. So you would just have to just teach him that part. But with the right coaching staff, man, that's, to me personally, I think it's an easier fix. Yeah.
But more and more I think of it, I want to hit on this later. We talked about it before we even started recording. I really think we should be drafting one of these linebackers.
We're going to talk about it, baby.
And there's a path to do it.
We're definitely going to talk about it. So what we'll do is this. We're going to bring up your path after we get through these prospects. That sound good?
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's what I mean. I want to do it later.
Yeah. So
but I like this guy. If we're talking about him in the second or third round, why not? Actually, I like all these guys we're bringing up.
I know you would. So sticking with that, we'll stick with the Georgia theme right now, all right? Sure. So the next Georgia linebacker that we wanted to talk about was the other guy, the main guy, number 17, Nakobe Dean. Now, this dude, I'm not going to lie to you. I said it to Deke when he walked in. Deke kind of said it back to me. I said, Deke, can you see my screen? I want you to see my screen. Okay. You see Nakobe Dean right here, right? Just read off what I just highlighted. Just read off what that line says. It's like literally the after I list his height and weight, 6'2", 225. What's the next line say?
What a perfect Devin Bush looks like.
What a perfect Devin Bush looks like.
So you mean to tell me he knew he was playing Tennessee the following week? He
Bro.
knew he had Bama in
Bro.
the SEC championship?
Bro, when I watch Nakobe Dean, he moves like what we want Devin to move like.
Yeah.
He covers like what we would want Devin to cover like. He plays the run like what we would want Devin to play the run like. He blitzes the way we would want Devin to blitz. Like
outside type of stuff, like Micah Parsons type of stuff.
Like, dude can ball. He could ball. And he could cover it. He is a 3-down. Like, you don't take him off the field. He can do it all. And that's the funny part when we talked about these Georgia linebackers. Channing Tindall and Quay Walker, they rotated. They're seniors. This dude's a junior. They weren't even thinking about talking to him coming off the field because he's that talented, man. When I think of him, man, number one, fundamentally sound. You watch him every time he takes on the block. 2 hands, hitting low on the rise, good knee bend, consistently. You talk about him when he's tackling. Wraps up, head across the body, drives his feet. You talk about him in coverage. Uses his body, uses his feet, understands leverage, understands how not to get too handsy at times. To me, I just think, man, this is a guy that he plays crazy downhill against the run, and he uses his tools when winning as well. Like, you'll see him sometimes hat and hands a guy. You'll see him beat a guy with speed. You'll see him foot fake and backdoor. Like, his understanding and feel for the run is just top notch right now, sideline to sideline. And I could tell he's a very smart player. It's been times where I've even seen him get pissed with Channing. Because remember I said with Channing, sometimes I was like, I don't know if it's a football IQ thing or if he's just so gung-ho about physical or this or that. But it's been times where you can see them on tape and Nakobe is like, bro, it's here. You got to change here. And it's simple things like just when you're playing man-to-man coverage. If me and you are man-to-man on this camera and this, AC unit, we can't be like this because we're on the same level. So if those two guys have any cross motion, what's going to happen to us? We're going to hit each other. Nakobe understood that on a couple of plays. Channing didn't on a couple of plays. And you can see Nakobe as soon as the play happens. He gets a PBU. He turns around and he's ripping him. Da-da-da-da. Channing just takes it because he knows, like, yo, you right. That's the stuff that I like about Nakobe because it just continues to show where he's at mentally, not just as a football player, but as a leader. He's not afraid to call out his guys if they're messing up. He demands that from them. I like that because what are we missing right now? We don't have that alpha at linebacker. We don't have that leader at linebacker. We don't have that guy that when he speaks, everybody listens. This is a guy that, from what I've seen on tape, he commands that. And that's something that I do like a lot, man.
That's what I even thought, just looking at the highlights. Mm-hmm. Now, you brought up coverage. Everything I saw, the coverage looked amazing. Mm-hmm. Something I read was at times we get torched by some tight ends in college.
So
they think that's not going to translate as well to the NFL.
Now, this is what you have to worry about right here with him in coverage. He needs to, I have it right here. He needs to clean up his coverage because at times I think he sees too much in the sense of he's such a smart player that instead of him just focusing on this guy right here,
he's trying to do someone else's assignment.
Absolutely. I think I have that up there. I also think that at times it's weird because of how the NFL calls it right now. I say handsy, but I'm saying that in retrospect because of the Logan Wilson going into the first down that they gave him on the PI where he's like, he's barely having his hands on, what I think it was on Cooper, if I remember correctly. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Right in the red zone. It was like, and they ended up getting the first down. It was like, okay, I can see you calling it, but at the same time, I can see it being ticky-tack as well. But depending on how they call it will determine how I feel about him being handsy versus some of these guys or not. Because if he's allowed to do some of that touching, I don't think it's going to be an issue. And I think that he'll be fine. But if he can't and he is forced to just hands behind your back when you guard these guys, well, yeah, he's going to struggle. And a lot of dudes will struggle if that's the case. But we just don't know how they're calling it. I think he's easily, like, zone coverage. I don't even sweat zone coverage for him because his play recognition, his ability to read the quarterback, understanding when to break and how to break.
It's mainly him against, like,
absolutely.
the
but
elite
when you're saying man-to-man versus elite guys, that's where he has to clean up. And even with that, though, I feel like you can coach it up because with him, like I said, man, you just got to understand, like, hey, you don't always have to beat the guy to the spot. You don't always have to run your fastest every time. Understand your leverage. Just understand, hey, maybe instead of reaching, just shuffle a little bit here. Maybe instead of, trying to force this action, allow him to drive it right here while you're in coverage because you're fast. If you're athletic enough that you can cut this right here, your body position is going to take this right away and you're protected on the deep by the safety. Like that's the type of stuff that if I'm talking to him, how I would like talk to him about that because he definitely has all those other intangibles. Like you're not worried about that with him. Even when we talk about Channing, like he's already developed. Like I think to me, Nakobe is ready to come in day one and he's your guy. Now with Nakobe, you're going to have to move up more than likely to get him.
You think? I've been seeing some stuff he's dropping.
But this is the thing. We know how this time of year goes. Oh, he's dropping. Okay, until the team at 12 or 15 is like, yo, I need a linebacker that can come in here and ball right now. Giants got 2 picks in the first round. That's what I think of. I think of him with a Blake Martinez. I'm like, bro, that'd be filthy. I don't see them passing on him at that second pick. Those are the type of things that I kind of look at where it's like, oh, yeah, we can talk about a guy dropping or not, but the dude can ball, bro.
Oh, yeah. The thing that maybe could make him drop is actually just him being a little undersized at 6 foot. Now, I don't know.
He is short. Yeah, he does look a little shorter.
Well, we talked about Devin Bush, though. Like, that's the comp right there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I would like him on the team. Yeah. I don't know if I feel scorned because of us drafting an undersized linebacker already and seeing how that worked out. Yeah. And also drafting another Georgia guy early in the first round too.
Fair
Georgia
enough.
Linebacker. Yeah. But no, you can't do that for everyone because if you have that mentality, Nick Bolton last year doesn't become what he is with the Chiefs, you know? So I can't be doing that the whole time. It's just that you compare him to a dude like Tindall or even like Devin Lloyd who have that like the size, the speed, that JOK type of stuff from last year that gets you like, wow, like if he's in our system. At the same time, there's something to it. Dude just knows how to play football and is the leader too. But he has all that athleticism too. I saw how he was blitzing. I think him and Tindall actually have very similar games whenever they're blitzing.
They definitely do. They absolutely do. They just look different because one is like tall and lean and one is like short and stocky. But yeah, that's why for me, like when I look at Nakobe, I say, man, he's day one ready. I just think with Channing, I don't feel as comfortable putting him out there day one as the guy. If he's robbing day one, that's cool. And you get time to develop. But in our situation, we're not probably going to be drafted a Robin.
Well, and that's why he's probably going to go second or third round too.
Because that's the part that's different because we haven't even seen him as the guy even at Georgia just yet. So it's still a lot more speculation and projection, whereas Nakobe, I just think that he is probably, of the linebackers that we've been talking about, he's probably the safest of the bunch just in terms of like how well-rounded he is. But this next guy we're going to talk about, man, like he moves that needle as well. Before we get to him, with Nakobe, because I have been really highlighting his positives. Another thing that I would say in terms of if I had a knock on him, I would just say he's not overly strong. You know, like you watch Channing wins like when he's more of like the sheer force and speed, but he's not a big puncher either. When I watch Nakobe, there have been linemen that get up on him, and when they do, if he doesn't get his hands on them first or win with that foot fake, he will get bombed.
No.
But the thing is this. But this is the thing, though. Of the 3 games I watched, I only saw it twice. 3 games, he plays every snap. 2 of the games one was the SEC championship, one was the national championship.
So this is nitpicking.
So I'm talking about Alabama 2 times. Okay? Just throwing it in context. Outside of that, I'm like, I haven't seen a ton of guys even getting up on him. And like I said, with that, is that a concern? Sure, because of the whole Devin Bush thing. But the difference to me is this.
Maybe we should build a better defensive line for Devin Bush.
Well, the thing for me is this. That I would say when I watch Devin versus Nakobe this season, not pre-injury, but just this season, Devin still was hesitant to go downhill to actually shoot his gun. Nakobe is never worried about triggering. And that's big reason why Nakobe wins when he gets to these linemen. Because he's hitting them when they're only 1 to 2 yards up. Whereas Devin is waiting and he's catching when they got a full head of steam. Night and day. But that goes back to your eyes and your play recognition. I can't tell you to play fast if you don't even know what to look at. Because you're going to be like, all right, play fast. What do I do? Do I run here? And then what do we say at times when we watch Devin? We say, well, he's running, just not the right direction.
What do you think it was with him? The knee then? When
it really comes down to it? No. For me, to this day, I feel like he needed to increase his film study. Like, and when I watch him, I didn't feel like athletically he couldn't run fast. I didn't feel like athletically he couldn't shuffle. I didn't feel like athletically he couldn't break down because I would see him do it in the games. I would even point to you and say, hey, look, he just did it right here. Here's the play right here. We would see it. Problem was he wasn't doing it consistently enough. And you don't do it consistently enough when you just don't know it. think about going to take a test. If you know all the information, man, it ain't gonna take you long. You go in there, boom, got it. If you know 50% of the information, you're gonna feel great about that of these plays. And after that, you over here like, ooh, all right, hope for the best. And when I watched Devin, that's kind of how I felt.
You weren't surprised by his answer about not knowing the opponent then?
Oh. I try not to get on him so much because I don't want to be the guy that keeps talking about him. That's all. Because then they'd be like, oh, man, you hating on him. Oh, it's personal. I'm like, no, it's none of that. I'm just talking about how to play it.
There's a reason we're talking inside linebackers here for the draft.
Exactly.
We shouldn't be talking about these guys. We shouldn't. We just spent a 10 overall pick a couple years back.
And even a free agency move where you traded for Joe Schobert. Like, we only doing this because of what was out there on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
It is. But Nakobe would definitely ease my mind. That's all. If that was the guy that we went with, he would ease my mind in a big time way. Now, the last inside linebacker that we're going to talk about for today, though, is out of Utah. Devin Lloyd. Oh, baby. All right. I'm going to try to calm myself down. Let me try.
This guy's tops on my list, I think.
I'm about to say,
he's number one.
Because he does it to me. Oh.
Yeah. This is your guy.
He does it to me.
Oh, man. This mock draft has him going 7. We might not even have a shot.
He does it to me. And that's fine. But the thing is this. No different. Like, if you're going to go for a guy like that, you need a little bit of luck in terms of him dropping some.
At 11. Jeez, oh, man.
And you're going to have to move a little bit for him. But we had to move for Devin Bush as well. That's my thing. It's like, I don't have an issue if we say, hey, this is the guy we want. This is what we're going to do. And we have a plan that looks like it makes sense.
We need a good plan.
Right. I just don't want it to be like, man, we don't know what we're doing at quarterback. We really have tell it in free agency. Then we're kind of in the draft doing it. And it's like, what's the plan? We don't need that. But if the plan is, we're going to get this linebacker here. We're going to roll with young quarterback, whatever. All right, we're going to build this up. Well, cool. Go get you this linebacker early on. But if you're not doing that, if you're saying, hey, we want to get the quarterback, we're going to pay, do whatever, ton of draft picks for that guy, and we'll cut corners on the rest of it, well, fine. That makes sense too. But just make it make sense. That's all. But Devin Lloyd, man, this dude, inside linebacker, he could be an edge rusher if he wanted to. 6'3", 235. But honestly, man, he is like, he's that guy. To me, when I look at him, 3 guys I think of, you named them, J.O.K., Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I think of Micah Parsons, and I think of Ryan Shazier. And why do I think of those 3 guys? Crazy athletic ability, crazy playmaking ability, and speed. And the reason I throw Micah Parsons in there is because Micah is also an elite rusher, a specialist, 13 sacks in how many games as a outside guy, a DN type. Devin Lloyd has that type of potential to me. When I watch him, he cooks running backs in terms of a blitzer. That's why I didn't even label him as a blitzer. I said inside linebacker or pass rush specialist because he goes out and cooks left tackles. That's what I was watching one time. I said, oh, you're different. I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be a running back. You're going to get, it's a tighty you're going to get. No, you watch him on tape. He's getting after them tackles. That, to me, is game-changing. When you have that type of potential, I personally think he could excel as a man-to-man cover guy.
Oh, yeah.
If they wanted to utilize him
How
like that.
about this stat right here? Limiting receivers to a QB rating of 55.3 when covering. And he also had multiple pick sixes. I think he was the only linebacker in college football last year with multiple pick sixes.
Yeah. And when
he was originally a safety.
Yeah.
Originally recruited as a safety, right?
Yeah, he was like crazy athlete coming out of high school. I think he played safety, wide receiver. He was a punter as well. It was like crazy, man. But you watch him and he is...
Punter?
Bro, I know, right? I was like, hey, wait a minute. But like, yo, he's a legit freakazoid, man. I think he plays crazy fast. I also think that he shows elite range in the tackle box. There's guys that are fast, silent, and silent, but they don't want to be fast in that tackle box. They're not trying to shuffle, get downhill, shoot gaps and stuff like that. Devin is with all that. That's the part that reminds me of Shazier. When I see some of his backdoor stuff, some of his foot fake, beat a guy over top, I'm like, bro, this is Shay. Dog, this reminds me of Shay. But then he's also, he not afraid to put that head down and hat in hand somebody and let them know like he's with that as well. He's the complete package though. Also think that he, like I said, in open field, you really see the athleticism on display with some of his open field tackling and just some of the, like just watching how he moves. You watch him when he moves, he's very fluid. His hips are smooth. He changes direction extremely well. And he has a nose for the ball. I think that he's another one of those guys like Nakobe Dean, like Channing Tindall, that when that ball is out there on that field, they end in the frame every single time. You in the play stops, they popping up. They're just trying to get to that ball every time. Now, in terms of what I would improve upon him, it would probably be just the man-to-man coverage, just because we haven't seen a ton of that, because like I said, they put him out there and let him rush off that edge. They will blitz him. Like, he's one of those guys. Like, if it's
Dude, he's picking balls off at the line
like
of scrimmage.
seriously, yeah, like, and that's the TJ Watt part right there, where you're just
imagine him opposite of TJ
yeah,
Watt.
bro, it's crazy when you
But
watch
then the next
him.
play, he's the middle linebacker for us.
Yeah, and getting a TFL, or he's running up the seam covering a guy. Like, he is that type of position flexibility. He understands, his leverage. But the things that I would also say that I want him to improve upon: trust in his speed. Number one, in the sense of when you're in man-to-man coverage, because I have seen this a couple of times watching some of the games, not necessarily highlights, but the games. He won't trust his speed in the sense of you're not going to get ran by, so you don't have to beat that guy. At the NFL level, sometimes when you're in coverage, you always think, like, I got to beat this guy to the spot like it's basketball. In football, if you beat that guy to the spot, what do you think that receiver and quarterback going to do? Just going to stop, back shoulder, they're going to stop, come back the other direction. Like, we see it all the time, whether, it's a running back going to the flat and you get this guy hauling till, and he puts it in the ground, just comes back. Like, just understanding you have time, understanding you're fast enough that nobody's going to just run by you. Like, speed for him is not a issue. Like, it's certain guys, like we'll talk about, it's like, yo, you might be a little bit worried about their speed. With him, that's not the case at all. But I also think that he needs to understand his leverage, and I think that'll help with that. Just really just honing in and focusing in on that, because when I think of him, I think of how it was with Shea early on in his career, Shazier, and those are some of the things that he had to really understand. Don't always go 4-3. Don't always beat a guy to the spot. And it takes time, because it's almost like reverse engineering what you've always been taught as an athlete. Oh, I gotta be first. The NFL level is it's different in terms of how you fill those guys out, and just ball placement too, man. Like, I don't want you on this guy's shoulder when I know this ball is coming here and I need you to be able to play across from him. I need you to be able to tackle this. I need you to be able to jump in front of it to break that, to get that pick. Those are some of the things, like I said, like the more I watch them, it's like, that's little. That's nitpicking, but that's where it can be improvement upon.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be a great pick. I don't know if he's going to last the 20, though, because as we see, top 10 in the mock drafts right now.
He's a move-up guy. He's definitely a move-up guy. I would want to improve his tackling mechanics, too. I think of the three that we named, Channing Tindall, Nakobe Dean,
Good thing is,
Devin,
though, with his size, even though he has a little bit more slender frame, definitely willing to tackle.
Yeah,
definitely willing to get in the mix.
Like, let me clarify that. He's not turning down any contact. No. You're not worried about him being late to the party or being scared. He's the opposite. He gonna shoot his gun. Problem is, his aim is a little off, or the mechanics in terms of always wrapping up. Remember we talked about with Nakobe? I was like, with Nakobe, he's always fundamentally sound. He's always wrapping up, head across the bow. With Devin, at times, not as fundamentally sound in the tackling, but because he's triggering and he's forcing the action, he makes the ball carrier stop their feet, which ultimately allows the cavalry to come and make the play anyway. So, like I said, it's not terrible, but that's something that you could critique and clean up with him. But if you got a defense that's playing as hungry as they should be and running to the ball, I'll never tell a guy, yo, man, hey, chill out on that, man. If you're not going to make the tackle perfect, don't go for the tackle. Nah, keep shooting your gun, because I'd rather, in the words of Coach Tomlin, say, whoa, than sick him. I would much rather tell you got to dial it back than me have to encourage you to be physical, encourage you to want to shoot your gun. And with Devin, man, you never really have to worry about that with him.
Dude, I love some of those picks that you see in the highlights. Those ones
crazy,
at the line of scrimmage. His reaction time to that. Like, I don't want to say ball hawk, but I don't like his ball skills, around the ball, even like the tip passes.
Ball. It's very similar to guys like TJ Watt, guys like Terrell Suggs, guys who, even Von Miller to an extent, or JJ Watt, he's another prime example, that they just understand, like, hey, every rush you're not going to win. Every rush you don't always want to rush because of the timing of it. And if you can feel that this is quick game, if you can feel that this is 3-step, now passes, man, you can take that step, that jab step at the tackle to get him to kick back up, and now you can see. And if you're athletic enough, you can jump, go catch that thing, hit it, whatever. Devin does that a lot. Like you said, that's some of the first things that jump off on tape with him. You're like, okay.
But then he can actually rush too.
Yeah.
Oh, he could just straight up cover guys though and lock them up. And he's physical.
Yeah, man.
Could play linebacker. That's what I want on the squad right now. Yeah. I don't think it's possible.
It's gonna be interesting. Like I said, we would definitely have to move up for that.
It's like Michael Parsons last year.
Yeah, we would have to move up for that one, man. Definitely would. But you heard me. That's why I had to take a second. I was like, yo, that dude, he's special, man. I like him a lot. And it's funny, man, because now, granted, Chad Muma, he's not on our list today because we talked about him before. But when I think of Chad versus these guys in terms of how he stacks up, my only question with Chad is he fast enough like how these guys are? Because when we cut the tape on and you watch Devin, you watch Channing, you watch Nakobe, they have a gear that they play with. Whereas at times when I'm watching Chad just play in and play out, he's getting to the ball and his fundamentals and his angles, everything is great like we always talked about. But it's not, I don't feel like he's as fast as these other guys. And that is part of the reason why I think that, man, if it works out where these guys we've named aren't available, you could still get a Chad in that second round potentially, you know what I mean, or in that third, like that time frame, and still get a really good guy who can come in here and help you out in a major way. It's just those guys we talked about, they just like the way that they're able to pop off that screen, that speed is just nuts to watch at times, man. But all these guys are productive players. All these guys have things that excite you about them.
Like if you get Muma, you still might be looking for another guy.
Yeah.
Whereas if you get one of these guys, what you're saying is, no, that's the main guy. He can make up for maybe some of the faults that we have and potentially a second linebacker.
Yeah.
Whereas Muma, am I wrong on that?
No, you're not wrong on that. Like I agree to an extent. I just think that
like do you feel great about Muma being like your main guy going forward?
This is my only issue. I need to see what he tests in terms of his speed.
Okay.
If he is in that, if he can get 4 or 5 range, absolutely.
Okay.
Because that's my biggest concern right now when I'm watching him on tape versus those other guys. How fast of an inside guy can he be? Like, you'll see it, though, because it's like some plays he doesn't look as fast. Another place I'm like, okay, that's what I'm looking at. But that's what I'm wondering. I need to see where he tests because if I'm just spitballing, some plays I think he's 4 or 5. Other plays I think he's like 4.7, 4.8. And I'm just like, I don't know which one that is, but I'm going to watch more tape on it anywho, but I want to see when he finally times to just know, like, what is the official time? Because when I watch Nakobe, when I watch Devin, and when I watch Channing, them dudes look like 4.4.
Yeah.
Maybe flirt 4.3. Worst case 4.5. That's just when I watch them. And I'm like, man, if they're playing that fast, like, that's the part for me where I'm like with Chad, like, I need to see that because I want it to be like that all the time if you're going to be our guy, you know?
What was Devin Bush's 40?
He was
Devin
like 4.4, right?
Yeah,
4.45.
4.43.
Or 4.43, excuse me, yeah. Which is flying. Like, that's like NFL.
We haven't seen that on tape in a little bit.
Like, honestly, 4.5 is flying in NFL. 4.6 is fast for linebackers, inside guys. Like, that's fast. Most of them dudes is 4.7, 4.8. Yeah.
There's really only one play I remember him displaying this speed last year, and that was Bills week 1.
Yeah.
He made a tackle across the sideline. I don't remember him doing any of that, displaying speed like that in any of these games.
See, for me, I would see it, but it was never like in the right where you want to point it out. Like, oh, look, that. It's like, no. He's running like that because it's not a good thing right there.
He's catching up to a guy or something.
Yeah,
that's probably why I didn't see it, right?
Like,
I saw him make a play in the Bills game, and I saw him make a really nice stop. Outside of that, we didn't see much of it.
Yeah.
This wouldn't be an issue if
I know
Bush was the guy, man.
I know, but this is how the NFL works, though, man. How many years do you allow a guy to continue to, you know?
What if we had Devin Bush playing to his ability and we drafted Devin Lloyd, too?
Nah, that's freaky.
You know what I mean?
That's freaky.
That would have been sick.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say Nakobe Dean because then you'd have 2 Devin Bushes,
right.
But Devin Lloyd with the height.
Yeah, but the only reason
Bush.
you could still have a Nakobe Dean and Devin Bush work because if you wanted to make Devin solely be the rush guy or solely be you cover the least threatening of the two, well, you still feel fine with that because Nakobe can definitely cover the guys that, you know, we are concerned about with most linebackers. Nakobe, to me, already has shown that he can do that.
We haven't seen that Bush edge
That's
rush
what I'm
stuff
saying.
with the Steelers just yet. Maybe that's something Terrell Austin could dial up for us.
I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see.
Tell him to watch some of this Georgia tape.
But I'm even thinking of a Chad and Devin Bush combo. Like I said, if Chad is fast, because like I said, he plays fast, which is weird. But at times, I feel like he looks a little slow. So that's why I'm just like, is it the timing of it? Are you tired? Because like at times with N'Kobe, I could tell where he would get tired. Or one of the D line we're going to talk about in a second, I cut on the tape and I'm like, okay, when he gets tired, this is when it starts to look like this. And it's like, okay, as soon as it looks like that, I can tell. I know it. But with Chad, it's like, I don't know if he's tired right here because you look like tired, like he's tired on one play. And then the next play, he's like chasing something down, looking just crazy. Like, yo, the dude's effort is nuts. It jumps off the tape. Like I enjoy watching him a lot. But that's just my only concern with Chad right now is just how fast is he compared to these other guys.
Let me read this from Let's Go UW real quick. It says, just to correct you, Deke.
Uh-oh.
He's not the only guy with
I
multiple
knew
pick sixes.
he was about to come at you. I knew it. You know who it is,
Did you know that?
Because I saw it on the tape. That's it.
What was I reading? Whatever I was reading was fake news. I got to watch myself for that.
My problem was this. When I'm watching the tapes, some of the stuff I'll know. And
see, N'Kobe Dean, 29.
I see it. It's like weird, dude. It's weird. Well, if that's the case, man, I would love that then, bro.
Maybe it's because they had Dean as number one early on, right?
Wait a minute.
They had Dean number one early on. Now I think Devin Lloyd's going up.
All I'm saying is this. This is Bucky Brooks' list. This is the same person I saw have 3 quarterbacks taken in the top 10 2 weeks ago, bro. For a fact, he had 3 quarterbacks taken in the top 10, or excuse me, top 11. I don't want to exaggerate.
Well, whenever I saw Matt Corral at 11, I don't know if that was his or not.
No.
I'd be surprised.
It's all of those type of analysts that are making them lists. That's my whole thing. I'm like, I'll be surprised if N'Kobe's at 29 or if 3 quarterbacks taken in the top 11, like I've seen my man have up there before.
You want me to read some more of these super chats real quick? I don't know if I'm ahead of the game here, so we might have to go back. But anyway, right. Farron Bradford says, schematically, would we need Muma to be 4.5 when we had Bush at a 4.4? We just talked
check
about
it
that.
out. So actually, you're good. You're actually perfect on supers. And in terms of that question, would we need Muma at 4.5 if Bush is at 4.4? Yes, because Bush hasn't been playing at 4.4. If Bush plays at 4.4, no, it doesn't matter. That's why you could have Devin Bush and Vince Williams out there. But if it was Vince with Devin playing the way that Devin played last year, that's going to be an issue. Because who's the cover guy? Right now, we don't know that with Devin. Now, we hope he can bounce back to it. But for me, I'm just... My leash isn't as long in terms of like...
Some people are saying he needs to get his old hair back.
I'm like, how many years are we waiting? That's my whole feeling about this thing. Because we're going to have to pick up that option. We're going to have to decide on that. That's coming up soon. So, yeah.
Let's Go UW also says, to be fair, with comparing Muma to these guys... Chad fixes a big hole we have, which now is run defense.
Now, he brings up a good point. Now, I had to look to who made that comment because I was like, man, I feel like this person's really beating the table. And then I saw the name. I was like, let's go UW. I know this is your guy. This is definitely your guy. But no, he does, like, he would totally fix that run issue. I think that he plays downhill, plays with really good technique fundamentals. I mean, we highlighted him even coming back from the Senior Bowl. Like, he does that without a doubt. And that was the crazy part for me as well. Watching him at the Senior Bowl, he played fast the whole time. But he also was, you know, in terms of not a pitch count, but you could see like they were trying to, for a second, they tried to utilize different linebackers. Then he ended up having to go back in there. But as a whole, it wasn't like you're going to play the whole game. So part of me also wonders, like N'Kobe Dean at times, like, hey, is this one of those times where he's just getting a little gassed? Take a play or two to get yourself, you know, we all know how to make the play work, even though we're gassed. But then after that, it's like, oh, now he turns back on. That could very well be the case as well. But that's ultimately why I said for me, I got to watch more of him. Sometimes it takes more than just 3 games. Sometimes you got to watch 5 games. I like the 3 game, but sometimes you got to go more. And with Chad, it looks like I'm going to have to dive in a little bit more, man.
All right.
Yeah.
On to new positions.
Yes. So with this, now we got to talk about a couple of the big fellas. All right. Because these were some of the names that, like I said, kept coming in, man. So the first one that we're going to talk about is from the University of Georgia, baby. Jordan Davis, number 99. Now, I want to turn this over to you because this was the guy that when we came in, you were hyped about him, bro.
Oh, yeah.
You was like, yo, I love this dude.
I think we need this guy. Could we draft Dean, Lloyd, and Davis? I mean, that could be nice.
Let's get them all.
That'd be nice. I think that'd help our defense. Dude.
Oh, man.
I know Hampton was a big deal for us being at nose tackle, but Hampton wasn't 6'6" like this guy.
6. Hey, look. They said 340. that man like 360, 370, bro. I'm not hearing this 340. Nah, bro. My man is a load.
We haven't had this guy since Hampton that could just be nose tackle and just dominate for us.
Yeah, dude.
Taking on 2 to 3 guys and still getting to the quarterback. Like, I honestly think he could, I don't want to say Aaron Donald-esque numbers, but I think he could put up double-digit sacks in a season.
Bro, he is filthy, man. Like, and it's weird, too, because when you watch him, you would think a guy that's 6'6", anywhere between 350 and 370 shouldn't be able to have a little bit of a burst. You know, you would think that they should be like slugs and just super slow, but that's not the case when you watch Jordan. Jordan, I mean, the strength and size jump out on tape, but you watch him when he's deciding to rush the passer. He is not going to give you a ton of moves. He is I'm going to put my foot in the ground, get off this ball, put 2 hands on you, and walk you back to this quarterback, and there is nothing you can do about it. When he decides to do that, man, I haven't seen a guy block him on tape. When he decides that he's a little tired or he wants to get cute, that's when I see guys block him in terms of pass rush. But when he wants to go, it doesn't matter if he's working with a D tackle in terms of his rush stunts, because they'll do some game and stuff where, you know, he'll be the penetrator. He'll be the guy that goes through the A gap first, and then one of the D tackles will loop around. Or sometimes, and I don't like this as much with Jordan, they'll make him the looper, where the D tackle will go first. He'll grab the guy, wait, and then loop around. He's had success doing it. I just think that it kind of takes the offensive guy off the hook, because you're making him have to, you know, it's like a big ship. You're making him have to ease and then go in. Whereas when he's just coming out that stance going straight ahead, right, it's like you on the train tracks, baby. And that's the part for me when I see that with Jordan that I actually love about him. But I do think when you watch him in the run game, short area quickness, he gets B gap to B gap. Man, he is patrolling that area. It is very hard to run on them. And that's ultimately, like, Georgia's defense looks so dominant at times, because it's like, yo, you can't get around this guy. And then when you do, you got Nakobe Dean and Channing Tindall and Quay Walker. I'm like, yo, they were filthy in the inside part of their defense, man. Another thing that I like about him is this, man. I think that, like I said, regardless of his run or pass, I just feel like he sets a lane. He's not worried about how is this guy trying to block me. He's saying, I'm going to this spot. And it's a different mentality, but it works for him, because even though he might be beat initially in terms of his placement, right? If he's supposed to be in the B gap, sometimes you'll see a guy like they're reaching him and actually like he's out of his gap. But because he is just committed to going this direction, whoever's there is getting knocked out the way. He's taking guys even on the wrong side and still making plays because of how strong and how physical he is. And that's, for me, man, I like a lot, because when I think of our running situation, Deke, you could play linebacker behind him, baby. He how you looking all right. He gonna have you clean. You feel me? I could coach up the rest of it. I coach on the rest of it, but
he's saying he can improve Devin Bush a little bit.
I pray, if he can't fix Devin, nobody can. I'm there with it, okay? Because that's what he brings in terms of how he can clean it up and just, like I said, man, eat up space, be productive, and not just eat up space, but actually come off of the block and make the tackle. That's another thing that I like about him. He uses his hands when he's fresh. When he's tired, not so much. But he is a bigger body guy.
Yeah, that's got to be the only negatives.
Yeah.
Well, what else is there? This dude's a beast.
Because the knocks on him right now is that he didn't play half of the Georgia defense, like snaps for the whole season. So his usage is lower. Now, granted, I still think that they could use him more, but if you're worried about his cardio, that's the reason why they're taking him off the field. Because to me, when he's fresh, I think that he can rush as a 0. I think he can rush as a 1. He will align at times as a 3-4 DN. That's like Cam Hayward into it. He can get away with it. I personally don't like him there.
No, just put him at nose tackle.
Right. I don't like him there, but just highlighting the positional flexibility with that. But it just goes to show, it's like, man, you're so versatile. Why do they even have to take you off the field? But it is because when he gets tired, his technique does look really bad. Like, he gets high, and granted, he's still not getting blocked crazily, but you just look at what he could do when he's fresh versus when he's not fresh, and it comes down a little bit. Whereas, like, when he's fresh, he's unblockable at times. It's almost like, it looks like the 14-year-old playing with, like, the 13-year-olds, like, or excuse me, the 15-year-old playing with, like, the 12-year-olds. It just looks like it ain't supposed to match like that. But when he gets tired, he starts playing high. He doesn't shoot his hands as much, and then you'll see him not give up movement, but just in the sense of not be dominant. But if that's
he's still not getting beat.
Yeah, he never gets moved. He just doesn't look dominant. You know what I mean? That's pretty much it with him. But to me, man, I do think that the more I watch him, I feel like he's kind of like, you remember in Jacksonville, John Henderson and Marcus Stroud.
I saw that comparison.
That's who he reminds me of. Because like for me, Stroud, that was my rookie year up in Buffalo, and that was one of the biggest people I ever seen him like personally. Yo, you're crazy. And how do you move like this? Like I actually started being reminded of him, but I said, man, to me, I thought he was that mix of both of them because he's thicker than Stroud, but I still feel like he's more athletic than Henderson. But his size is more in line with Henderson in terms of body weight. You know what I mean? Like he's kind of like stuck in between both of those, but those are the guys that he kind of puts me in the mind of. And it's funny because obviously Stroud is a Georgia guy as well. But to me, man, I think that Jordan, man, he has a crazy high ceiling. Like I understand why people are so high on him, why they talk about him so much, man.
How would you feel about drafting him in the first round then if you're only telling me he's going to play 50%? Do you think that would be the case with an NFL team? Or is he playing 70?
I need to get his cardio up, bro.
For me, go ahead.
The way I think of it is like this. I think of it two ways. The first way is leave him as is, minimize the role, but I'm going to get great play for 30% of these snaps. And if you're dominant for 30% of those snaps, I'm cool with that.
We saw it with Tyson, and Tyson's probably how much less than this guy?
Not even,
half the size or even half the impact of what this guy could be. But like you said,
we could feel the Tyson element, right?
Right.
So if that's the case, I'm completely fine with him playing 30%. My other alternative is this. I'm telling him I want you to drop 20 pounds because I still think you at 350 is still going to be big enough and you are way strong enough. But I think if you drop that weight a little bit, it's gonna better his conditioning, which then allows him to play a lot more. So now instead of me getting 30%, now what if I'm getting 70% like you just referred to? That's kind of how I see that. But I don't think he can play that many snaps at this level with him, with what I seen on tape, because NFL guys, we don't get tired like that. So when you get tired and you start playing high, that's how a BJ Finney blocks a Jordan Davis. That's how a JC Hassenauer blocks a Jordan Davis. That's how a John LeGlue blocks a Jordan Davis, because those guys are going to always be fundamentally sound. Those guys are going to be elite level conditioned, and those guys are always going to be in position. So those are some of the things I think of with Jordan. I'm like, you got to just pick and choose. Which one do I want? I don't mind him playing for 30% of the snaps, but then I'm asking myself,
how do you feel about a first round pick?
That's the part, right? If I'm giving up if I'm going to get you in that first, is that like, do I feel like it's like that? Now, me personally, understanding our situation, if we're still committed to Devin Bush and we've done something different in terms of free agency, grabbing a quarterback,
well, do we have
then I'm cool with that.
That's
right?
The other question.
That's a big question. If Tua's back,
I wouldn't get him.
You're not tripping.
We got
on
Tyson,
it.
Tua, Cam. We could run with that.
But there is a big question mark in terms of today. Tua back, yes or no? Do you know?
No, I don't. If I had to lean one way, it's no. But we need to know at some point here.
But that's the thing, because we don't know. That's why I can't say yay or nay to if I'm taking him in the first. If I don't have Tua, I don't have Tyson, heck yeah, I'm taking him in the first. But if I do have those guys, well, now I'm like, you know what? I don't think I need to get this guy because I got two guys that I know can ball. Now, granted, I don't think Tyson can do it to like Jordan's level if Jordan really taps into it just because of the sheer size and strength that he has.
Well, we got Tua too. Yeah. That's enough. And then we can focus on other stuff.
But like it really is gonna be dependent upon what Tua is doing, because none of us know that right now. Is it injury? Is it still grief? Like, we just don't know. Is it a desire? Like, nobody knows anything. So whenever we get that info, that'll let us know about Jordan, man.
That's still the unsung story right now, because free agency's coming up in a month here.
Yep.
So we're gonna have to know. We have to, at least before free agency.
Exactly.
I can't say wait till the draft. We need to know in free agency.
Mm-hmm.
Because that means, do we pick up a linebacker in free agency? Do we pick up a guy on the defensive line? Yeah, we'll find out. I like this dude, though, for sure. I didn't really realize the whole 50% snap thing or the fatigue conditioning part of it. That might be a little bit of a red flag.
But it's crazy, though. Like, you look at the stats, though, and it's like distinct. Like, when he's out there, they were showing the stats because he played – it was like a little under 300 snaps for them for the whole season. And – on run plays when he's out there, 2.3 or 2.2 yards per play. When he's not out there, it was like 3.7, 3.8. And then it was another stat. that was up there, and it was another one of those like you could just see almost a whole 1.5 yard, 2 yard difference of him being out there versus not out there for their defense. So when I think of that, I'm like, the impact, the productivity is there. You can see it. But the question is, for a first round draft pick, because that's where you're going to have to go to get him. You're going to have to get him in for. He's not going in the second round. No matter all this condition I'm talking about right now, he's not going in the second round. So with that, you just have to say, okay, I know what I'm getting. We can either go to 30% route or we can go the route, like I said, in terms of dropping some weight, increase your cardio, and now I might get 60 to 70% out of you. None of those guys play 100%. Cam is a freak, and Cam plays, high 90s. But Cam, like I said, that's one of them dudes. I to this day, it's not too many guys that I felt like had better lungs than me in terms of conditioning. He was one of those guys, him and Pouncey. Only two guys that I've ever in my life played around that were bigger bodies than me. But I felt like, their conditioning could just outgo mine. And I was like, I don't get tired. And I was like watching them like, bro, how do you do this? I don't know. I'm about to die right now. And I know you're about to die. But you look calm. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't question his impact if we draft him, even if it's only 30%, 40%. Yeah. But how much do I feel good about that if it's a first-round pick? That's the question.
Right. It would have to be dominant.
Like if we draft him, we draft him, he's going to be great for us, I think. How long, too, is he going to play? Like
that's the other thing,
longevity, all things to consider. I do think he'd really help us, though, in the run game, for sure.
No, without a doubt. All right, now this last guy we're going to talk about, I've been seeing his name come up because, obviously, when we talk about Jordan Davis, his counterpart, the guy that everybody is saying who is 1A or 1B is Travis Jones out of UConn.
Rising up the boards.
Absolutely. So he's the other guy that we're going to talk about. Now, with him, we actually didn't say it on air. We said it off the air. But you watch him on tape, man. When he rushes the passer, he looks like Aaron Donald. To me, that's what I see when I watch him rush the passer.
A less sleek version.
Right, but because the thing is, he's
massive.
Taller too.
Like,
he's 6'5", 330, 333. He's a big body guy, but in terms of how violent and how twitchy he is coming off that ball when he's rushing, you see it. He's clubbing, he's ripping, like his burst, like him as a pass rusher, to me is where he shines. I think that's where you see the strength that he has, because he's insanely strong as well. You see him ragdoll guys at times as well. Like, it gets gory. I'm like, bro, this is nuts. How did you end up at UConn? I don't know. But that, to me, man, it just jumps off the screen. And like I said, when you think of an Aaron Donald type, and very different than the Jordan Davis style rushing. Remember with Jordan, what did I say? He's north and south. He's put him on the train tracks. He's bull rush. That's it. He might be a looper, but other than that, you want him being the first guy pushing the pile. Travis, man, this dude can push the pile. He can hit you with a little stutter club. He can rip. They even have him looping not just with D tackles. He loops and works with D ends. For me, I'm a little like, ooh, can you bump him out to the 3 to work with a D end? Like, he'll be working with him from gory alignments as like an A-gap guy, but still can find ways to generate pressure because he is really athletic for a guy that size as well. Like that to me really pops off. And I also like that he has a very, very nasty demeanor when he is touching these offensive linemen. Any game I'm popping on, I'm just like, bro, when he decides to put his hand, Senior Bowl, you watch the Senior Bowl tape, the practices, he shouldn't be doing that to grown men. He should not. So for me, when I see that, I'm like, man, I like that a lot also. But not as bad of an issue, but it does pop up a little bit with Travis, the conditioning part as well. But he plays way more snaps. Like, he is a 90% of the time out there guy. But he does have his little plays where when he gets a little tired, you see his technique start to slip. More so his pad level. He'll just get higher. But he plays way more. He's way better conditioned to me than Jordan Davis. But he's also 30 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
Which is why I was saying if we're going to go Jordan Davis, because I know what Travis looks like. I know how dominant Travis could be. I just personally think that Jordan
might get
has
better
more
value
size.
too, because he might be going in the second or third round.
Right. I have him as second, third, but depending on how many people start to talk about him, he could easily be a guy that creeps up as well, because he is, like, when you watch him rush that passer, bro, like, big guys like that should not be able to do what he does.
He did. He looked like Aaron Donald light in a way.
Seriously, man. He should not be able to do that with that type of size, man.
Can I get to my Devin Bush thing? Or is there anything else you got?
Yeah, I had a couple more things though, man.
Go for it.
Yeah, so another thing that I would say with him is this. In terms of his fundamentals, I think that he is really fundamental sound. Like you watch him, hand placement always good. Like I said, outside of when he's tired, I always feel like he plays with good pad level as well. Told you in terms of not liking him as the looper when he's working with DNs. I think when he's a penetrator though, he's a handful. He can give you some issues. And I like the fact that he's productive against the run, very similar to Jordan Davis, which is why y'all kept sending those two names. Like a lot of people emailed, and it was a ton of Jordan Davis, what about Travis. So it's like, I like that, and I can see why both of them are like that, because Travis, he's another guy. When you're trying to run inside, hand placement, he's coming off making a tackle. Problem was, he didn't have Nakobe Dean, Channing Tindall, and Quay Walker behind him. So it wasn't as pretty at times for that UConn defense. But he was a bright spot. And honestly, man, another person he reminded me of, bro, I said, man, kind of like Cam Hayward.
Yeah.
In terms of like that big, like you're too big to be that athletic, nimble type. Like he was giving me some of those vibes. But I'm saying to myself, like he's bigger than Cam. That's why for me, I'm like, I like him. I can see that as well, man, because if we're going to like Jordan, Travis can give me, I feel like
better
the same thing. Yeah. And I feel like in terms of the value part of it, you would get more value out of Travis just because you're going to play him a lot more. And in terms of where you're going to draft him, you might be able to get him a little bit later than Jordan.
Yeah.
But I also think,
second
bro,
or third.
Just imagine if he's there and he actually gets Cam Hayward to coach him up. Think about that. Just like we know what Cam could do. Like imagine if Travis is working with him. Or even if Tua were to come back. And we're like, well, because both of these guys are older. One guy we probably think will retire in the next couple of years in terms of Cam, right? Probably next 3 years.
His best football of his career.
Yeah. But we know, like, it's like, all right, how many more years for that? And then with Tua, it's the big question mark. But at least we have our next guy waiting in the wings.
Yeah. Second or third would be nice. What about Dean, first round? Second round, maybe we get Tindall, and then we get Jones in the third. How do you like that?
Well, what about our offensive lineman?
Free agency.
Well, okay. Oh, that's where you're going. I was like, man, I remember
it's one or the other. I mean,
because remember last time we was in here, we was like, all right, we're gonna draft this lineman over here. We're gonna get Tyler Linderbaum in the first. Then we're gonna get Kenyon Green. Then after that, we might pull up on Zion Johnson. Remember, it was all that the other day.
We got to see what we do in free agency. Yeah, because our mock drafts will probably be way more clear after the free agency period, seeing what holes we filled with that.
Yeah, because right now we just don't know their direction. We don't know if they're going to make quarterback the premium position in the draft.
You said it perfectly. It's got to be a plan. I just want to see everything fit together here.
Right. And realistically, they have 3 ways they can do it. I mean, we've highlighted them on this multiple times. You go the veteran quarterback route. You go Mason or Haskins and beef up everything else around you. Or you draft the quarterback and from there...
Or trade the house, I guess.
Well, no, that was the first one. When I said the veteran quarterback.
I thought you meant like picking up Mariota or Winston.
No, I just lumped them all in
okay.
there. In terms of like just a veteran that is more proven than what we currently have, regardless of how high end or how low end, just that veteran group right there. Yeah.
I've been keeping tabs on Russ. Doesn't look like he's leaving Seattle, so
I've seen that.
It's looking like Kyler.
Bro,
that speaking of though, we need to throw some.
But speaking of, you saw his response though, right?
I don't know. Didn't he post on Instagram?
Yeah, because he was basically like, man, this is nonsense. I'm only here to focus on football. Like, I'm going to lead the way I lead. He's like, I'm gonna improve on certain things about myself. But
was it a positive or a negative thing? It seemed pretty neutral.
It was more defensive to me. It was like...
Of himself?
Put it like this, though. In the sense of, remember when we always say, hey, if there's a rumor about you in today, what's the easiest way to silence it? Just go out there and use your voice, right? Regardless if it's retirement, disgruntled, whatever, just use your voice. For me, Kyle just used his voice. He just simply, like the comments that were being leaked about his leadership and all that and his personality and stuff like that, he just really focused on those things, responded to that clearly, and left it alone. So for me, I'm like, I still don't feel like the situation is better. I just feel like he just defended himself. But part of me saying like, yo, you defended yourself. Did you feel like you needed to, though? You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's certain people, like, if you say something about me, I don't feel like I have to defend this because I know it's not true or I know who I am. But when I'm seeing him defend it, I'm like, all right, might have a little truth to this you tell me. Okay, fair enough. But I like the fact you didn't run from it either. So
Rodgers, no clue.
Yeah.
Watson still needs to be cleared.
Mm-hmm.
If cleared.
If cleared.
If
big,
cleared.
just if on it right now.
Yeah, I think Russ is out, though, based off his interview with Mad Dog that I saw on Twitter.
We shall see. We shall see.
Unless, you know how Russ is, man. He gives you the answers you want to hear.
Russ gonna PC you to death. He was sitting with Roger, too. Come on now. He already got something planned up.
Was he? Where was he at?
At the Super Bowl.
Oh.
Yeah, he was side by side with that boy. Yes.
Oh, Roger Goodell. Yeah, I thought you meant Aaron Rodgers.
No. Yeah, he was side by side with Roger Goodell. I said, oh, that's what we on? Levels.
Gotta get my Bush theory.
Yes, let me hear this, man. Let me hear this Bush.
I think we really need... I brought it up in passing. It was your last podcast, 2 podcasts ago or something. I think we do really need to consider trading Devin Bush this offseason.
Explain why, though.
Because right now, I can't say his value is at an all-time high, but his cap hit at $8 million coming into this season. I know we're going to have a lot of cap space with free agency and stuff, but $8 million is pretty significant. $8 million could get you another sick linebacker. $8 million could get you a sick dude on the defensive line.
Yeah.
Right now, I think a team would probably trade for Devin Bush because he was a first-round pick with us, has upside still, and I think most teams think, oh, man, we get you in the system, we could fix you up, right? $8 million for a dude we're talking about replacing in the draft right now is egregious to me, actually, when you think about it. So why wouldn't we just cut bait, get rid of the $8 million, and we could spend that $8 million on a linebacker we know can jump in right now and start? Or we draft a defensive lineman. Or not draft a defensive lineman, we pick up a defensive lineman. Then all of a sudden, all right, we got the defensive line taken care of. We don't have to draft Jordan Davis.
Right.
Let's draft Nakobe Dean, and he's going to be the guy going forward. So I just feel in terms of his value right now, weirdly, might be, I don't want to say at a high, but it could be, depending on how he plays this year. We could actually get some for him, as opposed to seeing how the year plays out. If he does the same thing he did last year, we just let him walk. We get nothing in return, and he's just taking up $8 million in our cap space.
Yeah. So for me, man, I think you're onto something, but I don't think that's the conversation that most people like to have, because most people only focus on Devin and, man, we think he can be the guy. We want him to develop. We want to play. We could do this and do that. But it's like right now you're getting to that crossroads of what it costs for him versus productivity, and what
it's not even close. Right now, it's not even close.
So where he's at right now, yeah, I mean, in theory, it makes perfect. It makes even more sense than the Chase Claypool thing. You know, when we talked about that, just in the sense of, I could tell you,
you're not even trading Bush for anything back. Right. You trade him for 6 or 7 round pick. It's more the cap space, just so you could do some more in free agency.
Right, but the thing to me, man, I do think that you would still get I would probably say a 4th round pick, depending on what team you're talking with, for Devin, just because he has all the intangibles. I cut the tape on. I can still point to him running fast. I can point to him shuffling. I can even point to him making a couple of plays. But I ask myself, if I'm an outside coach and I'm considering trading for him, do I feel like I have the linebacker coach that can get the best out of him? Do I feel like I have the guy that is better than a Jerry O? Do I have the guy that is going to be better than whoever else? Because I forgot when Jerry O's wife passed away and he took some time off, who stepped in during that time frame. But if you have a linebackers coach, like, for example, I remember, I think it was out in Seattle, they had Ken Norton Jr. for a while, right? It's like, yo, you got Ken Norton Jr., you're not worried about, can you develop Devin Bush? Because you know he can develop Devin Bush. Yeah, because he's the one who developed Bob Wagner and KJ Wright, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So it's like, man, if you got guys like that, it's like, yeah, you're good. But if you're questioning, hey, I don't know how I feel about my linebackers coach, then you probably wouldn't do that. But most teams feel confident about their staff. Most teams always feel like they got the guys in-house that, hey, man, we can get the mess up. We can get that out of him. Because Devin can still, he has position flexibility in the sense of you can put, or scheme flexibility. He can be a 4-3 or 3-4 guy just based on the size and speed that he plays with. He's short, but he's not a little guy in the sense of, like, when you think of Shazier was small. He was thin.
Small frame.
Right. Devin is not like that. Devin, if you teach him to just be more consistent punching and play faster in terms of getting downhill before those linemen get up on him, he can do everything you want him to do. But you just have to, number one, believe that he's going to develop, or number two, that he even has a desire and the work ethic to do that. That, to me, would be the thing that would make me hesitant if I'm a coach and I'm watching him on tape. Because the biggest criticism that I've had for him is, I think he needs to watch more film so then he can know where he's doing and know what he's doing and just play faster. And I thought when he was with Vince Vince took that away from him instead of having to think. Vince was just like, yo, I got this. I'm going to tell you what to do. You just play. He didn't have that. So I'm asking, okay, can he develop it? I would have wanted him to have developed that at some point these first couple of years, but it's like, where are we at right now, you know? Because if it was watching him on tape and he was always in the right spot, but he was getting shook. He was always in the right spot, but just getting out ring. He was always in the right spot, but just a second late. That's Robert Spillane, by the way. We would say, oh, it was the knee. That's what we would say, right? What did we say? We would say, yo, it was the knee. That's why he couldn't do it. But that wasn't the case, right? You laughing? I'm for real.
Just Spillane taking a shot right now.
No, it's not like not in a negative way.
I know.
But like with Spillane, what's the big knock on Spillane? Athletically, he's not the most gifted player. But we know he's smart as heck. He typically is always in the right position. And he's always going to be finishing where he's supposed to, but he's going to be a step late. If he's in coverage, he's going to get beat. But if it's against the run, he's going to be physical and knock something out. Like I said, with Devin, it's like, yo, he has all. If it was like that and he was just always a step late, then I would just solely rely on the excuse of it was the knee. But when I'm watching him and I'm like, yo, you're not getting out-athleted. You don't look like a bad athlete. You look like a great athlete at times. That to me goes back to what's in here. What are you seeing? What are you thinking of? And that's the part where I would have to question part of it, coaching. But the other part is you have to have a desire to want to be that guy. You have to have a desire to want to watch tape. You have to have a desire to want to go in there and just continue to improve. When I listen to a guy like Shazier, I don't have to listen to actually seeing it. Got it. It's like, okay, I want to watch more tape. Okay, I'll come in here at 7. I'll come in an hour before we're supposed to be here. Okay. I want to watch even more tape. I'll come in 2 hours before I want to be here. Like Shay was getting up at 5 a.m, round the clock. But you saw what? A crazy uptick in his play recognition and ultimately his productivity. So for me, that's why I just continue to say, if you want to continue with Devin or you want him to be the guy, or even if Devin wants to be the guy, like watch more film, increase that study habit, man, because to me, I think that'll help him out a ton, man.
What do you think Jayon Brown's going to be getting?
Oh, I don't know. What you think?
I don't know. Is $8 million enough? Like, could we get him for $8 million?
I'm trying to think. What was his number?
Donta Hightower's out there. John Bostic, he ain't coming back.
Nah.
So he right now it's saying $5.3 million for 2021, but I'm sure he's looking for something bigger right now. Gonna be 27. I'm just saying, even if it's like 10 million, even if it's like double digits, even because that $8 million, all of a sudden now we're only paying him $2 million because you'd be splitting the difference.
I know.
Then we could draft like Devin Lloyd or something.
Yeah.
Think of that.
Like I said, it makes sense. It does. For me, my biggest hiccup is this. I still think that, man, if he just watches one trick, man, he could do it. But if you can't make a guy have a desire,
right.
You can't make a guy want to do that. And that's the other part. It's like, I mean, we hear how he responds at times. Like I said, we can only go off of what we see and what he says. But at times it just doesn't look like he has that crazy radical passion to just be obsessed with this thing. And not everybody is like that, and that's fine. But
all right, I'm wrong actually. I don't know why I thought it was $8 million.
What is it?
It's 6. Still.
Dude, still $6 million. Like,
I don't know why I thought 8.
Maybe he's thinking about an extra $2 million. Maybe he's thinking about number 2 because Mason.
Maybe that's what he got guaranteed. I remember looking at his contract a little bit. Either way, $6 million. $6 million. Sorry for that.
Mm-hmm.
Still, I think the concept's still there.
Yeah.
Where, you trade him, get that $6 million in cap space, and you get a dude like Brown. If you want to pay him $9 million, $10 million, that's still all right. You're only paying that dude $3 million. You got a linebacker you can trust, and now you have more freedom to draft either defensive line. Focus on other positions, and you're only giving up $3 million in your cap space technically because of how you're maneuvering everything. Like it's a no-brainer to me. You got to at least consider. You really have to consider that.
I would consider it strongly.
That's way better than the Claypool thing, as you mentioned. Like the Claypool stuff, I'm not even thinking about right now. Really,
like I said, the only way that I could see them just totally throwing that idea away is if they truly believe that Devin is going to get better. He is going to dive in that tape. His play recognition. He's going to be a faster player. You know what I mean? Like if they feel like that's going to happen, he's going to get back to, hat in hands, play recognition and all that, then sure, they'll go with him. But either way, they're going to have to make this decision on this 5th-year option too. That's the other part. So that'll give us some information.
That's a no. That's got to be a no.
I mean, we've been saying that, but Yeah.
That's got to be. If you're not giving it to Terrell Edmonds is
I thought the same.
proven to do a lot more
I would agree.
in his short career with the Steelers than what Devin Bush has.
I would definitely agree. But we, like you said, we turned down Edmonds' option. So that's why I just want to see what we decide to do with him and his option.
That would feel like insanity almost.
I would agree with that.
That'd
But
definitely
I
feel
don't
like
want to put it
insanity.
past them. That's all. Because we know how they can be with their draft picks.
Kendrick Green played a lot last
All
year.
right. Yeah. It's the truth. Like,
But I think that are they even considering this? I'm not hearing any rumors. So the things
Well, I
I'm
don't think
hearing
we've
are
heard rumors
we're
yet
taking
because,
calls on Claypool, which
Yeah.
I'm not that fond of, but
But,
other people
I
are
mean,
at least interested.
we
in
did
him.
bring. I mean, you brought it up. It was your idea.
Did I?
I mean, well, you made it.
Maybe the idea. I don't really want to do it.
No. You. I don't know. Did you see it? I don't know. You might have saw it, or did you just
What?
come with the idea of moving Chase that day?
Some people
I feel like
may
we
have brought
saw
it
it
in the
somewhere,
chat.
yeah.
I might have brought up the idea, but I was like,
Right.
no, not for a second round pick. I don't even know if I would do it for a first round pick.
Yeah.
It's an idea though, but nah, I'm good. Unless we're getting an early first round pick.
Yeah. If we're deciding on,
I still haven't watched any of these receivers.
I was gonna say if we're deciding,
I don't know
on
how
who
they
you're
look.
moving between Chase and Devin, I'm moving Devin. 9
Chase,
times
you're
out of
getting
10.
something
Yeah.
in return. Devin
True.
Bush, you're just trying to get rid of the cap space, really.
So you're
you
still
can make
getting
some moves in
something, but
free
you're getting
agency.
something in return then.
Maybe 7th round pick, 6th round, maybe something.
No. But what you're getting is the cap space. That's the
Oh,
part.
yeah.
Yeah. That's like I look at it like that because you can get a 6th or 7th worst case, but like I said, with the right team, you might get a 4, might get a 5. Like, and we've said, man, you can still get some quality pieces. Isaiah
Well,
Loudermilk
yeah,
was
maybe
a
at that
5th. Like,
6.
think
I thought
about
it was
man.
8. 6,
Yeah.
yeah, that might be a little bit better of a
Mhm.
draft pick then. Maybe it could go
Yeah.
up to a 4th because that's not 8. It doesn't hurt your cap space as much.
Well, you know the other person
Even though
they
it's only
keep,
$2 million.
you know the other person they keep bringing up about getting some cap space for.
Oh, Banner.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see some of this other stuff? We could restructure TJ.
Mhm.
I think it was to we could clear up to I think 88 million.
Yeah. I saw like high 70s. Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do the whole TJ thing though, because that could be monstrous down the line.
Well, that's how you play. We know this game.
Hey, if it means we do
Hey,
the Ram strategy,
You know this. You know this
we
game
trade
we gonna
for
play.
Kyler or Russ.
You know this game we play. Come on now. We're gonna kick that can. We're gonna kick that can. And then they're gonna be like $60 million cap. You're like, how the heck did this happen?
60 million. I don't know what we're gonna do with it.
Right.
That's the thing.
All right, get
Do
there.
we bring in some randos, or we actually
Right.
bring in some guys?
Seriously, bad.
I don't know. If the restructure happens, we got to get the quarterback then. I guess the thing. If you're doing that, you got to go for
That's
Kyler.
my thing. Yeah.
You got to do that. But if not, yeah, that could be a $50 million cap hit in like 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
That could be terrible. But anyway, I think that's all we got. We
Yeah,
got
let's
any more
check these
super
supers,
chats?
man, and we'll roll.
Brandon Bradford, I got one for him. Let's go, UW.
Yep, I think that's where we're at then.
Yeah. So here's a question. This is
Mm-hmm.
from Let's Go UW. When talking about these defensive line guys, how long will the Steelers wait on Tuitt? We were just talking about this
Mm-hmm.
because it's going to hamstring us, not to mention the hamstrings.
If possible.
Yeah, free agent guys.
Yeah. Honestly,
It's got to be before free agency.
yeah, it's going to be happening soon in terms of whether they're committed to him and he's staying on, or whether they're restructuring, releasing. Maybe he retires. Who knows? But we're going to get that decision definitely before free agency starts, man. Because, you hit it on the head. Let's go, UW. You can't build your roster. I mean, as we've been talking about, while we're like, yo, we got to look at D tackles. We got to look at line because we don't know what's about to happen.
Honestly, trading Tuitt should be an option too.
I'm not opposed to that, but I don't think a team would want to trade for him right now. I know if I'm other organization, I don't care about the talent. I'm looking at availability, and I'm looking at the past couple of years, and I'm saying, man, when we full encompass his career, and I'm like, man, he's missed a ton of time. And it's going to take a ton because I'm going to, number one, have to give up some nicer picks probably.
Actually, I still think it's in the Devin Bush range. You're just trying to get rid of the contract. Because I would say cut him, but now you're dealing with his dead cap.
See, the reason why I don't think, though, that the Steelers are going to just solely try to move him and just move the contract and not get assets back is because that is a player that they count on. That is a player that they go in each season. The way we talk about Cam, the way we talk about the way we talk about TJ, Tuitt is in that conversation as well. They bank on that. So that's why for me, I'm like, I don't just see them saying, oh, yeah, you could just get him for crumbs because we want to get rid of this contract. I could see them also saying, like, yeah, we at least want something worthwhile if he's even going to go back out there and play. Because
if he plays, you want him.
And
maybe he doesn't want to play here, though.
Well, but I don't think it's necessarily not wanting to play here. Maybe it's just not wanting to play at all.
Yeah.
But if you're another team and you don't know you don't know the situation, you willing to just take on that contract after just seeing him not play for a whole year? And you like, bro, what's going on here? You know what I mean? And you would think that in Pittsburgh it would be different because he's familiar here. He's growing up here in terms of like, this is where he got drafted. It's his whole career. It's been here. So you would think like, man, if he's going to come back for anybody, it would be this group. If anybody could motivate him, it would be this group because these are his brothers. These are his coaches. Like, it's family, right? Whereas if you're the Bears, what's the incentive for it? Well, I shouldn't have said Chicago because it's kind of like its own time. Yeah, I should. That's bad.
Back by Notre Dame.
Bad by me. All right. So if it's day going the Rams, it was the Chargers. You're like, like, I don't know. Like, what incentivizes him to want to do that? Like I said, I don't know. I really don't know. Because I don't know where his mind is at right now. Yeah.
Maybe he'd be all
about it. Just don't know, man. Just do not know.
So. That's something to think because his cap hit's worse than Bush. His cap hit's in the double digits, I think, from what I remember. I'll check after I read this next one.
Yeah.
Farron Bradford. Out of all the prospects you guys have looked at, who are you willing to trade up for? Devin Lloyd. My two are Linderbaum and Jones.
Travis Jones. Or no. Jones is.
I think he's talking about Travis Jones. I think he's going to go second or third, but maybe he's talking about 10. Trading up in one of those rounds because, he's not going to be up there. But, yeah, Linderbaum and Jones if they're within 10 picks. So maybe he's talking about trading up in the second or third.
For me, I just don't want to trade up for a center. I just think of, like, in terms of, like, the productivity, what can I get? You know, like, when I trade up, I want to have one of those splash makers. I do think that Linderbaum can – I think he's an awesome prospect. I mean, we talked about him. We broke him down. But at the same time, we talked about some of the cons with him as well. So if I'm moving up for a center, I don't want any cons. I want it to be like you're Pouncey, you're Webster. You know what I mean? You're Damani. Like that's what I want whole time. I just don't know in terms of some of the stuff that we talked about with him, especially with his just being a little bit smaller as well. Like what does that look like to move up for? Whereas if we're moving up for a Devin Lloyd, if we're moving up for, any of these high end, even if it's a high end, I don't want to say like left tackle. I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name. Dude.
Penning.
No, it wasn't even him. But if you're moving up for like another like surefire guy, like I'm cool with left tackle. I'm cool with wide receiver. I'm cool with quarterback. I'm cool with pass rusher, inside linebacker, corner. I'm cool moving up for any of those. Even if it's a stud, like, freaky D lineman. Like, I'm cool with that. But outside of those, like, hot positions like that, to me, I don't know. I just don't feel as strong about moving up for a center. That's just my perspective.
So, Tuitt's cap hit is $13 million.
Mm-hmm. I know. And that's my dog. I'm a dog, but I know.
If he retires, do we get any of that back? Because if we cut him... The dead cap's $9 million.
I would have to look on the retirement part. I don't think they would have. You know what though? I would need to look to see how much of it was given to him in signing bonus already, because the way that it works for some of the cut, or if a guy were to retire, and you'll hear them say, "Hey, if he retires, they got that he'll owe the team money." If they've already paid him that 13, or they paid him 8 of that in signing bonus. Yeah, they already paid him crazy or whatever in signing bonus, and that's what's like we didn't kick them because we kept But then it would be one of those situations where you would basically say like, hey, you owe the team money. Like they can come back and try to recoup that. That's all. But that gets messy.
Get messy, yeah.
That gets really messy. Some teams like they won't mess with that. They'll leave it alone. Other teams, if they feel scorned. I think was it AB? They said they were going to go after his.
He tried with the Patriots. Are you talking about Steelers and AB? He tried with the Patriots whenever they cut him.
Yeah, but I'm trying. No. It was recently. It was a team that was actually trying to get their money back from a player. Who was it though?
I don't know about it.
Yeah, dude. But that
can happen.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it can, man.
All right. Well, I think we're all caught up.
All right. Oh, and we did have an upper room member as well. The homie Jay Hall. Jay Hall, welcome to the Boom. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, baby. Welcome to the family. Yes. Man, I was supposed to have a phone line today, too. Totally dropped the ball on that. We have to do it on Friday.
I think you and B-Lo need to go at it. Rod Woodson versus Dion.
No, bro. Seriously, man. That was like outlandish. Like, bruh.
I would love to hear it.
Oh, man.
Moats versus B-Lo.
Like, this is crazy. It's crazy. But either way. Anyway. I think this is it for today then, man. So with that being said, yeah. Going through one more last. All right, then. So we're good, man. So shoot, with that being said, enjoy the rest of your day. Shout out to everybody that was with us on the show and everybody that was liking the vid. Make sure you keep liking it even when we gone. Let us know you're thinking about us, all right? But we appreciate you for tuning in. And until next time, baby.
Peace.